This is, of course, organized by the Région Centre-Val de Loire and Lombardy Cosmetic Valley, which is regional governments, business, and researchers across the EU, and REI, Reindustria Innovazione, as part of the partnership of Go4 Cosmetics, which is part of an EU smart specialization platform. So there is support from the EU, right? We're going to talk about that. Anyway, so the tech tips. Raise your hand. We're going analog on this. Just raise your hand if you want to talk, and then you hit that red button. Where is it? You can see the red button on there, yeah? There it is. Voilà, c'est ça. And the button that's encircled in red, that one. And keep in mind, too, what we like to do is to tweet like a beast when it comes to an event like this. So if you can keep in mind the handles at Cosmetic Valley and at EU_COR for the Committee of the Regions. If you hear a good line, send it out. Okay, and this will be recorded for playback later, so that's also important as well. Bon, I'm going to get out of the way now. Et je commence avec François Bonneau. Bonjour, bienvenue. Bonjour. Et vous êtes président du Centre-Val de Loire, région, depuis 15 ans. Et on va parler de vos objectifs de l'événement, un peu de l'économie, un peu des capacités, parce que ça c'est aussi un sujet dans cette discussion. On aura trois tables rondes pour discuter sur l'avenir de la cosmétique. Donc, voilà. François, s'il vous plaît.
Merci beaucoup. Grand plaisir de vous saluer et d'être avec les responsables de la région Lombardie qui sont à distance et avec le président et le directeur de la Cosmetic Valley, d'être ici pour engager cette conférence sur l'avenir de l'industrie de la cosmétique européenne. Centre-Val de Loire, la région française dont je suis président et dont Anne est vice-présidente chargée de la recherche. La région Centre-Val de Loire a le plaisir d'accueillir le siège de la Cosmetic Valley et d'être à l'échelle de la France l'épicentre de la production de la cosmétique. Nous nous retrouvons ici à Bruxelles parce que bien évidemment, le problème, il n'est pas posé à l'échelle d'une région, il est posé à l'échelle nationale et à l'échelle européenne. La question, c'est de savoir comment, à partir de ce que nous représentons sur le plan mondial, c'est-à-dire ce territoire qui a fait de la cosmétique un territoire vraiment pionnier, comment nous pouvons assurer cette position à l'échelle européenne et à l'échelle internationale. De très très grandes évolutions sont à l'œuvre, chacun le sait aujourd'hui. De très grandes évolutions, on parle beaucoup des enjeux de l'environnement, des enjeux de l'énergie, des enjeux, le président Jamais en parlera certainement, de la naturalité. Eh bien, ces enjeux transforment complètement cette filière et nous avons besoin, pour assurer l'avenir de cette filière, de soutenir, d'accompagner ces grandes évolutions, ces grandes transitions. De la même manière, il y a dans l'industrie, comme partout, des transitions qui sont liées à l'intervention du numérique à la fois dans la production, l'intervention du numérique pour accompagner, parfois anticiper sur les évolutions de nos concitoyens. Tout cela compose véritablement un bouquet qui est un bouquet mettant la cosmétique, comme beaucoup d'autres secteurs, dans une véritable évolution. L'Europe est à cet égard un territoire qui accueille 2 millions de salariés qui sont aujourd'hui concernés directement par la cosmétique. Il y a des enjeux de compétences, des enjeux de recherche qui sont absolument fondamentaux. Et nous sommes très heureux d'être ici à Bruxelles. Nous sommes heureux parce que nous pensons que cette filière industrielle est une filière à part entière qui doit être complètement reconnue en tant que telle, et en affirmant la force de la cosmétique, l'engagement de la cosmétique dans les transitions, comme je viens de le dire, la position des filières françaises, italiennes et européennes, nous disons très très clairement que nous avons l'ambition de conserver, par rapport aux pays émergents, de conserver une force et une place tout à fait majeure. Donc nous retrouver aujourd'hui par rapport aux sujets qui sont des sujets de transition, par rapport aux sujets d'innovation, c'est une affirmation qui va être portée, j'en suis persuadé, par l'ensemble des chercheurs, par l'ensemble des responsables de la filière, avec l'énergie qui nous permet d'être aujourd'hui ce que nous sommes. En tous les cas, merci de votre présence, merci d'accompagner ce mouvement essentiel pour nos territoires et essentiel pour l'Europe.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Bonneau, merci. Donc, on va maintenant entendre de Lombardia un message en vidéo de Attilio Fontana, President of the Lombardy region, and Rafael Cataneo, Undersecretary for International and European Relations, Lombardy region. They represent over 400 companies. Over half the nation's cosmetic companies are in Lombardia. So let's roll the video.
Buongiorno a tutti, sono molto lieto di intervenire a questo evento dedicato al futuro dell'industria cosmetica europea. Un momento strategico, tenuto conto della rilevanza delle imprese lombarde a livello nazionale ed europeo, strutturate, apertura internazionale e investimenti nella ricerca. Sono altrettanto lieto della cooperazione interregionale che abbiamo avviato e consolidato. A tale proposito saluto e ringrazio il Presidente della Regione Centre-Val della Loire che con la Lombardia ha dato vita a questo virtuoso partenariato nell'ambito della cosmetica. Innovazione, sostenibilità e formazione sono asset determinanti per vincere la sfida della competitività globale e per confermare la leadership europea delle nostre aziende. Si tratta di una strada che il tessuto imprenditoriale e associativo lombardo hanno già intrapreso come appunto testimonia il cluster lombardo della cosmetica. Un percorso che senza dubbio è ascrivibile alla straordinaria reattività delle nostre imprese e alla vivacità del contesto che le accompagna. La nostra partnership sia dunque concentrata a rafforzare l'ecosistema europeo che per produzione e dipendenti merita ogni attenzione istituzionale. Settore chiave, tanto per la crescita economica quanto per la salute e il benessere di molti consumatori. Grazie per questo appuntamento, cui speriamo possano seguire altrettanti momenti come questo. Buona giornata a tutti e a presto.
Okay, now I think we hear from Raffaele, is that right? Voilà.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, Rafael. Yes, thank you. Rafael Cataneo, Undersecretary for International and European Relations, Lombardy region. Can we build on that about how the importance of both growth but also the health of the companies in your region, those 400 companies, how can that be helped on a European level? As we were talking with, as François mentioned, that it was very important that the problem is Europe-wide, and the solution must be European. How do you feel about that?
Well, first of all, thank you so much. Let me apologize. Me personally and President Fontana cannot be in person there, but today we have had in Milan the annual assembly of the most important entrepreneurial association with the presence of our Prime Minister and a lot of authorities, so we must remain here in Milan. Now let me switch to Italian because I know the quality of the interpreters in the Committee of the Region, so
Sì.
I can address better my vision answering to your question.
Prego, per favore.
Grazie. Allora, venendo all'italiano, intanto
Ok.
io voglio esprimere grande apprezzamento per questa iniziativa di oggi, il futuro dell'industria cosmetica europea, il cui primo scopo è proprio quello di sottolineare l'importanza che ha già oggi questa industria, troppo spesso sottovalutata, ma che rappresenta una realtà economica di tutto rilievo. Questo vale a livello aggregato in Europa 88 miliardi di fatturato, la seconda industria cosmetica dopo gli Stati Uniti, 2 milioni di posti di lavoro diretti, diventano 3 se si aggiunge l'indotto, ma che ha un'importanza ancora più significativa nella nostra regione, come veniva ricordato, 400 imprese che sono il 55% del totale delle imprese italiane della cosmesi, ma producono 2/3 del fatturato della cosmesi in Italia, un fatturato che peraltro è in crescita, è cresciuto del 12,4% nel 2022, raggiungendo 13,3 miliardi e superando già il valore della produzione pre-crisi dalla pandemia del Covid, ma anche nella prima parte di questo 2023 il fatturato è ulteriormente cresciuto di un altro 8%. Quindi un settore importante, un settore che cresce, un settore soprattutto che investe in ricerca e sviluppo circa il 6% del fatturato, più del doppio della media nazionale. Questo è un altro aspetto che voglio sottolineare. Non solo la cosmesi è un settore industriale importante e in crescita, ma è un settore industriale che si basa moltissimo sulla ricerca e sull'innovazione. Ci sono oltre 30.000 scienziati che lavorano nel settore della cosmesi, ci sono oltre 700.000 studenti in Europa che si occupano di questi temi. Allora è un settore che guarda avanti. Da questo punto di vista è certamente importante il contributo dell'Unione Europea, perché la cosmesi è uno dei settori che può indirizzare lo sviluppo dell'industria europea nell'unica direzione che può permetterci di rimanere competitivi, che è quella appunto della ricerca, dell'innovazione, della capacità di portare sul mercato prodotti di qualità sempre maggiore. E questo è fortemente presente anche nello sviluppo che avranno i lavori odierni. Ho visto che verranno in particolare approfondite 3 sfide che mi sembrano le sfide centrali per la filiera della cosmesi. La prima è quella di essere al centro della transizione ecologica, la sfida della sostenibilità, di una evoluzione verso modalità più ambientalmente compatibili di produzione e di utilizzo, e del resto la recente crisi energetica ha dimostrato quanto questi temi siano di grande attualità. Bisogna dire che il settore della cosmesi ha già fatto molto in questo campo, ma molto altro deve essere fatto. E io credo che l'impegno a migliorare ulteriormente le caratteristiche di sostenibilità dei prodotti e dei processi produttivi sia un fattore essenziale per il miglioramento non solo delle prestazioni energetiche, ma anche del posizionamento della filiera della cosmesi all'interno delle filiere industriali dell'Unione Europea. Occorre però una sostenibilità che non sia ideologica, che sia in grado di coniugare le 3 dimensioni della sostenibilità, quella ambientale ma anche quella economica e sociale. Una sostenibilità che non deve andare a danno dell'occupazione e non deve andare a danno dello sviluppo delle imprese. Una seconda sfida riguarda la concorrenza globale. Dicevo prima, l'industria europea è seconda per fatturato e a poca distanza solo dall'industria degli Stati Uniti, ma non possiamo negare che si senta molto la sfida della concorrenza, in particolare di paesi emergenti, penso soprattutto alla Corea. paesi che sono in continua crescita e che potranno progressivamente erodere quote di mercato e margini di profitto, soprattutto in una concorrenza che rimanga su prodotti standard. Anche per questo, come dicevo prima, la qualità dei prodotti e quindi il contenuto di innovazione e di ricerca è decisivo. E appunto la ricerca e l'innovazione sono la terza sfida che completa le due precedenti e può consentire anche in futuro alla cosmesi europea di giocare quel ruolo da protagonista che le compete sul mercato globale. Ecco, questi sono 3 temi che oggi verranno approfonditi, ma io vorrei concludere con una sottolineatura più di natura politico-istituzionale. Quella che presentiamo oggi è una partnership tra 10 regioni europee promossa da una regione francese e da una regione italiana, ma aperta al contributo di regioni di altri paesi dell'Unione Europea, perché noi siamo convinti che queste sfide si vincono solo se siamo in grado di affrontarle insieme, se siamo capaci di mettere a terra progetti comuni in una prospettiva di collaborazione europea. Del resto siete oggi ospiti del Comitato delle Regioni, quale luogo migliore che la Casa delle Regioni Europee per sottolineare questi aspetti, in un contesto in cui le alleanze fra territori sono decisive per la crescita dell'industria europea e della sua competitività alla scala globale. Allora, 10 regioni che collaborano a fare della cosmesi un'eccellenza economica europea sono uno straordinario esempio di questa unità di intenti che porta beneficio sia ai nostri territori che all'intera Unione Europea. È anche per questo che l'Unione Europea deve guardare con attenzione a filiere industriali come la cosmesi e mettere in campo strumenti sempre più diretti e sempre più efficaci per sostenere lo sviluppo. Grazie e buona prosecuzione dei vostri lavori.
Grazie molto, Raffaele. Grazie. And of course, as Raphael mentioned, that there's much more to do. And we're hearing a lot from officials from France and from Italy, but as Raphael mentioned, this is all about a partnership from 10 regions from different countries across the EU. And so this is showing how this is a European-level issue. Let me go quickly over to Marc-Antoine Jamet, president of the Cosmetic Valley, also Secretary General of LVMH.
That's a secret.
Oh. Bon. Shh. But you also are head now of the Eiffel board, the Eiffel Tower board. You were, right? And the chairman of the Champs-Élysées committee to renovate the Champs-Élysées.
You know everything about me.
It's fascinating. No, but I mean, it's amazing. You do. If there were just 2 of those things, that's already accomplishing a lot. So it's amazing to meet you. And also chairing this long-distance learning for 220,000 students is fantastic also. And teaching at l'ENA, l'École nationale d'administration. You're also an ENARC. Voilà. Alors.
It was another secret.
Oh, yeah. All right. Completely, this is, how do you say, this is all of you. So this is good. Anyway, Marc, if I can call you Marc, set the tone for this event. What do we want to accomplish from this event? Voilà. Et vous allez, it's going to be franglais, right?
I will try to answer.
D'accord.
I will start my speech in English and carry on in French before getting back to English for conclusion.
Okay, let's put your mic on.
But before,
On va pousser le bouton, voilà.
I'm sorry. I will start my speech in English and carry on in French.
Okay.
Before getting back to English for conclusion. But before, I have to deeply apologize because my English is probably one of the worst you have ever heard from a French speaker. But there is
très bien.
There is an explanation. When I was a child, when I was a little boy in the 60s, if you want to access to the best school, I don't speak about the Lena.
Okay.
You have to learn German rather than English. Things are a little bit different today. Let me first, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, let me first of all thank the Committee of the Région for hosting a meeting that I hope will constitute an important milestone for the European cosmetic sector and pay really a special tribute to the French region Centre-Val de Loire and its president, Mr. François Bonneau, who is really at the origin of the meeting. To our Italian friends of Lombardy, buongiorno a tutti, bravi laboratori, for the initiative and for the organization of this exceptional event. It is a pleasure to be with you in Brussels under a very cloudy weather at the heart of the European Union institutional district. It is an honor to be welcomed by the Committee of the Région, an institution that embodies the crucial need to build Europe with the citizens of Europe and on the field at the local level, the level on which Cosmetic Valley works on a daily basis. It is a crucial mission for me, as the president of Cosmetic Valley, as you said, to make the voice of the European cosmetic industry heard in Brussels today. Our sector is made of an industrial value chain that is almost entirely located in Europe. It is a major driver for growth, for innovation, and for employment. It is a success story that still has much to achieve. That's the objective. That's the mission of our meeting today. We want to give you more information on what we are, more insights on what we do. Our sector, the cosmetic sector, is an important and growing contributor to the European economy, to the European society, to European soft power. First of all, you have to know that Europe is the largest market for cosmetic products in the world, alongside or just behind the USA. This market represented 80 billion euro sales each year. Across the European Union, our industry, because we are an industry like aeronautics, like car manufacturers, like steel workers, generates 2 million jobs, direct and indirect, up and down the value chain, comprising suppliers, retailers, beauticians, hairdressers, why not, logistics. It is a mix of champions. You have said that I work for LVMH. I can quote L'Oréal, and a myriad more than 7,000 SMEs. Its entrepreneurial nature is remarkable and has continued to grow. If we would have been in Germany, around Mercedes, around Audi, around BMW, near Stuttgart or near Munich, everyone would say that we were a world-class European ecosystem. But nobody takes us seriously enough because we only produce lipsticks, eyeliner, and creams. Our industry is also research intensive. The cosmetics and personal care industry is a science-driven and highly innovative sector and makes large investment in R&D. Big companies spend around 5% of their annual turnover on R&D, and the sector regularly engages in collaborative research with public agencies. In 2021, export of cosmetic products from Europe were equivalent to 25 billion euro. It means that we are the cosmetic exports world leader. Our success can be explained by the four major characteristics of our products. They are effective, they are innovative, they are safe, and they are sustainable. The European legislation, considered as a reference elsewhere in the world, has contributed to reinforcing these characteristics. Cosmetics Europe, the Pan-European Association representing the cosmetic sector, whose Director General John Shave is present with us. I don't know where he is. Hello, John. And will take the floor later this afternoon, is doing a fantastic job to make sure this legislation remains the best and the most efficient, but also, because that's really a challenge, the easiest to use. But the importance and the success of our products are not only linked to economy, linked to technology, linked to science and regulation. We promote heritage, now creativity and art of living that makes the reputation of Europe, but also spread the desire of Europe elsewhere in the world. Mais nous sommes à un moment essentiel. Et ce moment essentiel, c'est celui des transitions. Et c'est pour cela que nous sommes ici. Et c'est pour ça que nous voulons que nous soyons écoutés. D'abord, la transition écologique. Nos amis italiens en ont parlé. Mais est-ce que vous connaissez une industrie qui utilise autant de facteurs amenés à être changés, régulés, transformés? De l'eau, du plastique, du carton, du papier, de l'énergie. La transition numérique. Le président Bonneau en a parlé. Nous avions tourné le dos à cette transition. Et maintenant, nous utilisons le big data, les tutoriels, les objets connectés. La transition énergétique, nous pensions être à l'abri de cela. Et aujourd'hui, nos verriers doivent changer leurs fours à gaz pour les transformer en fours électriques. La transition réglementaire, ce n'est pas ici que je vais en parler. Dans la conférence de presse qui nous accueillait dans la salle d'à côté, les questions ont porté exclusivement sur les huiles essentielles, les emballages, les molécules composites. C'est l'actualité de l'Europe et c'est la nôtre aussi. Et puis la transition géopolitique. La Chine est le premier marché au monde dans très peu de temps. Mais ce sera peut-être également notre premier compétiteur. L'Ukraine était un vaste endroit où nous importions, par exemple, de l'huile. Les choses sont un peu plus compliquées. Et la taille européenne, la vitrine européenne, la visibilité européenne serait pour nous évidemment essentielle. La transition commerciale. Nous étions dans un marché qui était concurrencé à l'est par le Japon, à l'ouest par les États-Unis. Aujourd'hui, il l'est par Taïwan, par la Corée et le groupe BTS, dont je serais bien à la peine de vous chanter une seule chanson, ou les Blackpink, qui sont les idoles de mes filles, mais que je ne reconnaîtrai pas dans la rue, mais cela suffit, ce soft power, à faire vendre. Taïwan, la Chine, je vous en ai cité beaucoup d'autres. La transition technologique, et c'est probablement sur celle-ci que je finirai, parce qu'elle est la plus importante. Nous avions Victor Hugo, Dickens, Dante, Goethe, Cervantes. Nous avions Séville, la Tour de Londres, la Tour Eiffel, un certain nombre d'autres lieux. C'est ça qui nous a fait vendre pendant très longtemps. Demain, ce qui nous fera vendre, c'est la chimie verte, les molécules artificielles, l'intelligence artificielle. Et nous devons opérer ce basculement, tout en gardant l'acquis, mais en ayant le futur. Et le futur, il est européen. Nous avons besoin de l'Europe. Nous sommes européens, nous sommes à la taille européenne. Nous avons besoin de l'Europe dans une cosmétique qui serait made in Europe par la performance de l'innovation, la sécurité du consommateur, la protection de l'environnement et l'authenticité des ingrédients. To meet these challenges, the Cosmetic Valley Competitiveness Cluster has the critical mass, the tools, the experience and the desire to act at local, national and European level. Founded 30 years ago in a triangle formed by the Centre, Val de Loire, Normandy and Paris region, we are now present on the entire French territory, including the French overseas departments, where we have opened 2 offices in Cayenne and the other one in Fort-de-France, as well as in Brussels, which is not, that's clear, yet part of the French overseas territories, where we have had an office since January with Justine Egon on my right, who is hosted by President Bonneau and the Region Centre-Val de Loire, Brussels. We have built up a network of contacts and partners, in particular with the Global Cosmetic Cluster, which brings together our alter egos from all over the world. In particular, the cluster offers its members a formidable network of public and private contacts in France and abroad, international support via prospecting missions and presence at the world's leading trade shows, support in ramping up their R&D, in particular through major collaborative innovation programs, 500 projects, 540 million research credit approved, 1,000 laboratories working with us, public or private, support for training, legal, marketing, commercial. I need to conclude. Cosmetic Valley has been appointed National Coordinator for Industry by the French government. Its actions are also reflected in federative initiatives such as the creation of a Cosmetic Industry Committee in 2021 under the chairmanship of the Minister of Industry. It would be great, really great, if, with your support, to foster public-private partnership in strategic issues, such an industry committee could one day be replicated at European level. That is my main wish for today. To do so, we must first demonstrate its usefulness and its purpose. I am sure that our debates today will contribute to this. The future of the cosmetic industry is European, and Europe has much to gain from a high-performance cosmetic sector. This is what Cosmetic-Val understood. But we need to convince the European legislators and policymakers to be with us too. I wish you a fruitful afternoon. Thank you for your attention.
Marc-Antoine, merci beaucoup. Merci. Thank you. Now, I think we're going to quickly go to the first panel, but I would like to just quickly note that this is Christophe Masson, over here, General Manager of Cosmetic-Val, and over here is Anne Beignet, Vice President for Higher Education Research Innovation, Région Centre-Val de Loire, which will be speaking with both of you at the very end to sum it all up and to give us a call to action, what we do next. So thanks to all of you for being here on the first opening panel, opening comments, and now we'll quickly switch over to the first panel. So if those of you, the speakers who are in the first panel, if you can make it quickly over here. We are running behind. I will try to catch up a bit, and also if the speakers' answers could be in brief so we can move along. This first panel is on that transition that is green, that is digital, that has to happen at the same time. How can that happen? And we heard just now about how important that is, that Europe is going to sell itself with green businesses. Strategies for success, navigating the green and digital transitions in the cosmetics industry. I'm not going to do the roll call. I'm just going to go speaker by speaker. That way we also save time on this. You see the list of speakers there in your program anyway. Let's go quickly first to John Chave, as we already mentioned, as Marc-Antoine mentioned, General Manager of Cosmetics Europe. You have a career in pharma. You're a former head of the pharma group of the EU, so very much, of course, in touch with the industry. Let's start in this context of strategies for success, navigating green and digital. What are the sustainability challenges? Can we drill down into that part?
We certainly can, Chris.
Okay.
So thank you so much for the invitation, and congratulations to the partners for organising this event. It's an extremely opportune moment, a timely moment for this, because many of you will be aware that in Europe we're going through a time of significant change with regard to the regulation of our industry, with potential consequences for the future of our industry. We talk a lot about transition and transformation. I'll come to that. But before I do that, let's just remind ourselves that those things that we've heard in the opening speeches express so well and so clearly about the competitiveness of our industry, our exports, our employment, the contribution to our industry, to the European economy, but the European also way of life and the European brand is successful and is based on a very successful approach to regulation at European level, which we've had now since 1976. And what is at the heart of that success? Well, it's guaranteeing safety of the consumer, which is all important, of course, but also the possibility of our industry to innovate.
So, in other words, not over-regulating, right?
Absolutely. You put it rather well.
There you go.
Now we see a little bit of a challenge to that model, a more precautionary approach coming through the chemical strategy for sustainability, which potentially would reduce the amount of ingredients, for example, that we have to use in our products, which are at the heart of our innovation. You've seen it recently with this debate around natural complex substances. I don't know if you've seen that. Extremely potentially impactful for European regions where certain materials are grown which are the basis for natural ingredients such as essential oils. Happy to say that that debate is now going in a positive direction for our industry. But indicative, I think, a little bit of this, what some people call a paradigm shift to a more precautionary approach. We say, okay, of course, our industry must be prepared to change and move with the times, but let's do it keeping the fundamental pillars of our regulation in place, and that is safety, which is all important, combined with innovation. Now, coming to the sustainability issue, and I don't think we can pretend that this isn't in some ways a challenge for our industry now. Many of our companies, big and small, are doing wonderful, progressive things in the sustainability space. There's absolutely no doubt that our industry is a responsible industry which is pursuing and fully committed to sustainability objectives. We expect it as stakeholders, our consumers expect it. Let there not be any doubt. But also we're seeing, I think, the fact that while our industry has been relatively comfortable in the area of things like human health, the way that we deal with exposure, for example, to chemicals under the Cosmetics Products Regulation, doesn't quite always translate in the same way.
Oh, push the button again. Yep.
I think that's a sign that I need to wind up my... Now, you've seen this a little bit in connection with microplastics. You've seen it a little bit in the connection, perhaps, with the restriction on PFAS to come. And this is an area, I think, where our industry needs to reflect and see what we can do to truly move with the times in this respect. And that's a significant challenge that we'll have going forward. I'll stop there.
Yeah, that's fine, John. Yeah, we're going to come back to you. But let's move then to, I mean, after all you said, we do need to hear from the Commission at this point. Right?
Well.
So we're going to hear from Sylvia Jachewska, a legal officer working on the cosmetics regulation at DG GROW, on bioeconomy, chemicals, and cosmetics. How do you kind of answer to what John is saying? I mean, you're kind of in this tough position where you do need to regulate, but maybe not too much. How do you judge that?
Yes. Yes, thank you very much for having me here. Good afternoon to all of you. And thank you so much to John for making an introduction, in fact, to this topic, because I think that it's very important to put a frame. And John mentioned it very well, that this about the importance of the industry, about the safety of the industry, about the success of this industry, which is based on the regulation. And the framework, indeed, was really looking on the safety of those different products. And now you will be asking, or maybe you are asking yourself, what the Commission is cooking, because you've all saw this chemical strategy for sustainability, and you all heard about the very important priorities of the Commission, which is that really we have to ensure that our environment is safe, that we are not only talking about the human health safety, but also about the environment. And these are two very important elements. Now, we have been talking about the changes, amendments to the cosmetics regulation, which was already, it's not the last revision of the regulation. In fact, was applied as of 2013. So can you imagine, just 10 years, right? It was like July 2013. So, and this is really quite a good framework. So now you can think like, well, what the Commission is coming now, how the Commission is going to change it and maybe distort it or making it not usable. But at this stage, what I can say is that we are too ambitious with regard to these changes. We really want to make changes that will help you and not destroy the sector or what have you. So we have to balance those two aspects, the environment and safety for our environment, or rather protect the environment, and then with a safety for human health. So there are like few elements that I just mentioned, because I know that you are eager to listen to other speakers, and you are eager to ask questions, I'm sure. So what we will do is, of course, there will be, and the strategy mentioned the most harmful substances. So we consider that what is our regulation is not covering right now are the endocrine disrupting substances, category 1. So this, the revision will cover those substances, and we'll lay down the general ban on those substances, of course, including this with the exception criteria, which can be used already now for other like CMR substances. The next important change, and here we go into the direction of digitalization, is that we intend to introduce the digital labeling as an option. So it will not be an obligation suddenly to all entrepreneurs to make this digital label. But those entrepreneurs who would like rather to put certain information which are now packed, we mentioned or listed on pack, to put it on the website and then to add like a QR code on the packaging, that it will be possible after the change. And we intend to simplify, meaning that you've heard the discussion that there are different committees making and providing the scientific opinions. And we want to, although preserving the identity of our the Scientific Committee on Consumer Safety, we want to move it into ECHA so that it gets the one broad framework and it gets support from its secretariat, etc.
ECHA, you mean the European Chemical Agency?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, and then also what I think that you all wanted, we want to change the definition of nanomaterials and align it with this definition which was recommended in the Commission recommendation of June last year. So, but this is really like a simplification rather touch. And also the final element which we would like to do is to somehow to make it interoperable or to introduce interoperability between the Cosmetic Products Notification Portal and the EU single window for customs, just to make sure that our authorities can easily, the customs authorities can also check, verify the products coming into the EU, and so that we can be sure that they comply with the same requirements.
Okay, Silvia, dziękuję bardzo, and I'll come back to you. Do formulate your questions as well. Let me move to someone else from the European Commission, from the investment side, Michael Bertz, who is project advisor at ACE-MEA. If you don't know that alphabet soup, it's European Innovation Council and SME Executive Agency. And of course, as we're talking, hundreds of different companies in France, hundreds in Italy, and then beyond. A lot of these are SMEs. And how is ACE-MEA and the Commission and the EU facilitating, helping this transition, this digital and green transition? How are you doing that?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Bertz from the ACE-MEA agency. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invitation. And I will focus, I was quite impressed by the numbers, also related to the number of SMEs working in this industry. And I'm here to give you one example what we are doing. This is in our agency, and it's definitely quite interesting but new instrument exactly to support SMEs bringing products to the market, to support regions, to support the S3 strategy and the place-based approach. Our instrument is the interregional innovation instrument, and it's not coming from Horizon. So we are talking here about cohesion. This is in the ERDF, in the Article 13. There you have the article regarding the I3 instrument. It's new. That means we had first call published in October 2021. We are talking about money. We're talking about 570 million euro coming from the ERDF for the framework from 21 to 27. And it's so interesting for your sector, for your industry, and for your companies for the following reasons. We are implementing as mayor, that's why I am here. We are implementing this instrument. Our parent DG is DG Regio. So for the interregional innovation instrument, we are looking for concrete project. That means we are looking for technologies ready for the market, starting with TRL level 6, first point, and then you go up until TRL level 9. We are looking for project consortium bringing in different elements from the so-called quadruple helix. That means we are looking for companies, we are looking for researchers, we are looking for public administrations, and we're looking for end users and civil society. And we want to see in the proposals different elements from these quadruple helix systems. It's a place-based approach. That means the proposal we are looking for, they have to be endorsed by the regional managing authority. And that means the managing authority has to confirm that the project is in line with the S3 strategy of the region.
Smart specialization.
Yes, I think you are quite familiar with the S3 smart specialization strategy. And this brings us to the next point, the topic. It's about interregional, it's about innovation, it's about investment. Investment means that we have here, we are looking for project up to around 10 million euro per project. We have a funding rate of 70%, and for the so-called financial support to third parties, we are now able to finance 100%. We published the second call last month. We are looking for projects in the following thematic priorities. It's about digital transition, green transition, smart manufacturing. So, to give you just a picture, as I mentioned, we had the first call in October 21. The first grants, that's a call for grants, for proposals for grants, started end of last year, the first 11 projects. And just to give you a picture regarding the variety, we have projects regarding food production, agri-food, plant protection. We have 2 projects related to the production, transport and use of hydrogen. We have different projects under digital transformation, focusing on digital healthcare solution after COVID. And in the call that we published last month, this has been published together with the so-called core fund call under Horizon European Innovation Ecosystem. I talked with some of you, you are familiar with this as well, and the calls remain open until mid of October, and it's linked, the I3 call, also to the new innovation agenda that has been published a year ago, and here we are under flagship number 3. And flagship number 3 of the new innovation agenda is about strengthening the innovation in the European innovation ecosystems.
So, Michael, can I just ask you, just interject here real quickly, is can you give an example of a project that would be funded? And specifically, what kind of, what in the green transition, what in the digital transition? Can you give something, a concrete example?
The concrete example is talking about the healthcare area, or then related to the improvement of healthcare and related to the cosmetics industry. What we have now, we have the two problems. Here we're talking about digital solutions for SMEs. Okay. For example, very concrete example, people being in hospital after surgery, operation, have to go, the monitoring of these patients with new digital technologies developed by SMEs will allow that these patients can go home much earlier. Okay. It's just a very simple...
Well, something directly relevant with the cosmetics industry.
And
what
with the cosmetics, as you have the full value chain in Europe, it's about the I3 instrument, it's about developing new value chains in Europe. So if there's anything, you have the materials, the raw materials, the development of new products, etc. in the cosmetics industry. This you can bring to the market with the I3 instrument.
Maybe developing new materials that could evade regulation, for instance. Something like that too, right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Let me move quickly over to Ilaria Massari, General Manager REI, Lombardia Cosmetic System. You worked in building public-private partnerships. And I think we want to talk a little bit about how research and development can help support companies, especially those SMEs, in making that transition. If you can give a concrete example of that.
Thank you, Christopher. Thanks to everyone. But please, first of all, let me thank really the Centre-Val de Loire region and the Cosmetics Valley, so our colleague in starting all this process some years ago, because really is giving us, all of the regions involved, so much enthusiasm about this process. And let me say that when the Go for Cosmetics started, the platform about 10 regions, we started making this exercise of counting us, so evaluating the dimension, assessing the dimension, and really the great benefit is that we had the chance to make clear about the value and the competitive advantage, the complementarities, and the situation, I mean, between us, the possibility about building synergy between the regions. And this is really so much connected with the S3 priority, of course. So still, really, the Centre-Val de Loire region is an example for us in so much investment in the S3 priority on cosmetics industry, and this is why also in Lombardy region, some years ago, we started developing the cosmetic industry, I mean, as a cluster approach. So the Lombardy cosmetic system involving 5 universities and representing more than 400 companies.
Right. Can you give a concrete example of how that's worked between academia and the companies?
Yes, I can tell you an example is, one example was a huge investment, 9 million project, co-funded by Lombardy region, an ERDF co-funded project called Advanced Cosmetic Manufacturing, that involved 22 researchers continuously present in 5 years long of this project, and involving not only small and medium enterprises, but also all the supply chain of the cosmetic, and it had a really place-based approach. That was a starting point, because for us it's a challenging project, but also an example that we would like now to scale at European level with all the other regions. Because talking about digitalization, of course, there is the digitalization of the information to the consumer, but there is also all this part of the investment in technologies about the manufacturing process. And Lombardy region has a lot to say about it, so we have a very good strength in it, and this is a very good chance for us in collaborating with all the other regions, evolving the European cosmetics industry to the next level.
And it's combining all that brain power across the EU. That interesting statistic I also saw in reading up for this: 30,000 scientists are involved in this sector, 30,000 across the EU. You put all those heads together in synergies like that, what can we do? We can do anything, right? Great. Let me move on to Celestin Nitkovsky, chemical engineer, biostratège Guyane, this is, I guess, when we're talking about this transition, we want to find more bio resources, once again, to avoid too much regulation. How are we doing that in Guyana and in the Amazon? Take us into the Amazon.
7,000 kilometers away from Brussels.
Yes.
So across the ocean.
Make us dream. Fais-nous rêver.
Yeah. So hello everyone. Thank you for the Cosmetic Valley for the invitation to speak in front of all of you.
Et ça peut être en français aussi, si vous voulez.
Ça peut être en français également.
D'accord.
Merci.
Okay.
Donc on est biostratège Guyane, on est spécialisé dans la valorisation des bioressources, donc d'Amazonie française. Donc faut savoir que c'est le seul territoire au monde qui se situe à la fois dans une forêt équatoriale, mais qui dépend de l'Union européenne. Donc il faut savoir que l'Union européenne a aussi des territoires très loin d'ici, mais qui sont bien organisés aussi autour de ces normes européennes et de ces standards de qualité, de traçabilité français et des règlements européens dans tout ce qui est la protection de l'environnement notamment, et puis les règlements cosmétiques pour la santé, et puis la protection des populations. Donc on a vraiment des opportunités exceptionnelles sur ce territoire qui nous permettent de développer chez Biostratège Guyane des ingrédients naturels qu'on propose à divers marchés d'application, et notamment la cosmétique. Donc en fait, cette transition écologique, cette transition verte, elle est bien réelle sur ce territoire-là, où on est un peu pionnier du développement de l'agriculture, d'une structuration de filières. Donc comme c'est un territoire qui est encore en développement, il y a des enjeux vraiment de développement de filières. Il faut savoir que l'agriculture est vraiment émergente là-bas, mais où il y a le potentiel pour aller très loin et fournir vraiment des ressources qui pourront être valorisées sur place pour l'économie locale et pour proposer.
Donc un exemple d'un ingrédient qui est plutôt eco-friendly.
Voilà, ce qu'on appelle en Guyane par exemple le wassail, qui est la baie d'Açaï, Açaï berry, qui est utilisé en Guyane, qui est très connu là-bas. Il y a aussi l'awara, qui est un fruit de palmier. Donc on a des fruits de palmier, des feuilles, même des essences d'arbres. J'ai
demandé que vous apportiez des trucs comme ça, mais c'était pas possible, je pense. Ou est-ce que vous en avez?
Non, je suis pas venu directement de Guyane.
C'est pas permis par l'avion, je pense.
Non. Il y a des réglementations sur le transport de ce type de matière.
Mais ce sont des exemples concrets que c'est très possible d'être plus éco-friendly.
Et justement, nous, on ne veut pas les apporter par l'avion pour que ce soit transformé en Europe continentale. On veut vraiment que ce soit transformé sur place pour qu'il y ait vraiment une valeur ajoutée, un dynamisme économique sur le territoire, et que l'Europe puisse permettre d'apporter ça justement et pas de s'accaparer toutes les ressources.
Il existe un Amazon Active Valley Project. Pourriez-vous en parler un tout petit peu?
L'Amazon Active Valley, en fait, c'est un projet de valorisation industrielle et de site où on peut faire collaborer justement les entreprises tout au long de cette chaîne de valeur pour que justement on puisse avoir une Silicon Valley ou une Cosmetic Valley du produit naturel de Guyane française. Parce qu'il y a toute la filière cosmétique qui va jusqu'au produit fini, mais il y a toute une filière agricole en amont à structurer avant d'en arriver à ce produit fini cosmétique.
Okay, super, très bien. I want to get back to John because we have another point to make, but is there a question out there? I want to get a couple of questions in. I want to stay on time too, but is there a question out there? Yes. Por favor.
Hello, everyone.
Bon dia. You're on a couple panels later, so.
Yes, I'm Anna from Portugal.
Bon dia.
Bon dia. I have a question for Mr. Michael. What is the difference? I was searching here in the internet about the call that you were saying. What is the difference between strand 1 and strand 2A? I think I
Thanks again for the question. So this is a question related to the call or the instrument I just presented, the so-called I3, Interregional Innovation Investments. And what I tried to explain is that we are not under Horizon, so we're not looking for excellence. We are not using the regional innovation monitor like we do now, like the European Innovation Ecosystem Co-Fund call is using now. We are under European Regional Development Fund. That means we have a strong focus on cohesion. I told you that we have a funding rate 70%. For FSTP it's 100%, and we want that 70% of the project eligible costs go to company, to SMEs. And to come to your question, in strand 1, let's start with 2A. With the 2A, we have a stronger focus on the cohesion on the less developed regions and regional specific challenges. These are defined by the GDP per capita below the EU average, so below 70% of the European average of the GDP. Then it's a less developed region, and we want that in the consortia under strand 2A, we have a stronger focus on the less developed regions, and we have a smaller consortia. And under strand 1, we are going for a higher size of project partners, and we have a stronger focus, much more on the investment, and we have to talk about innovation diffusion. This is under both strands, but strand 2A is focusing more on the development of value chains in less developed regions. The thematic priorities, the links to the innovation agenda, the funding rates is always the same. And last point, because it's 2A, because there's a 2A, that means there's a 2B. And this is quite important because this 2B is also a call for proposals that had been published last December, and this is where we looking for all the support activities to increase the innovation capacity of the less developed regions. Here you come up with proposals, matchmaking, setting up platforms, networking, exchange of excellence, best practices, etc. And this is so interesting because we had now the first deadline of this call in March, and we will sign and prepare now the first round of grants for the support the support call for the increase of the innovation capacity in less developed regions.
Very good. I have another question over here, but before I go to you, I'd like to go quickly to John, who might also stir other questions among you. We have, about less than 10 minutes left. John, rather quickly if you can, what about the proactivity of what you're doing? How are you being proactive in your industry with action? Tell us about that.
I'm glad you asked, Chris.
Good.
So it's not enough to say that we want proportional regulation. That's, of course, part of the equation. But if we really want to make a successful sustainability transition and successful digitalization transition, we need to be proactive as an industry. And at Cosmetic, we're doing that now. So on digitalization, we're going to now move forward on what we call the harmonized digital framework, which will allow our industry to transition to a new digital approach, which is beneficial, of course, for our stakeholders and for our consumers and everybody within our industry community. Secondly, on sustainability. Now, for a long time, many of our companies have been really the gold standard on sustainability issues. But that's no longer quite enough. We need to do things on a collective basis because we want our industry to be perceived as a whole as committed to sustainability objectives. And to that end, just at the end of last year, we launched our voluntary commitments at Cosmetic Europe called Commit for Our Planet. We're committing on 3 areas: on greenhouse gas emissions, on caring for nature, and in packaging. And we've designed a system which any company can join, whatever stage of the sustainability process that you're at, be it you're a small SME in Italy or France, or be you a multinational, you can join and on the journey, because it is a journey. It's about progress. It's about moving forward from wherever you start. I should stress that this initiative is open to non-Cosmetic Europe members, so if your company is not a direct member of Cosmetic Europe, you're welcome to join us. It's vitally important that we show the world that we're moving in the right direction on sustainability.
Very good. We have a question over here, and I think we have another one over here after that. Please, yes. Name, rank, serial number, please, first.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I don't know if you can hear me. Yeah, probably. Samuel Mitchell from the Public Affairs Consultancy Grayling. First of all, thank you very much. I think this is very interesting and useful discussions. My question is to DG Grow. You were talking about digitalization of labels. I just wanted to have a bit more info on what you meant, because as we know for CLP regulations, the classification, labeling and packaging, it is voluntary and it's in addition as well to a physical label. But do I understand correctly that for cosmetic, if you want to have a digital label, you don't need it on pack, all the information? Thank you.
Good question. Proszę.
Dziękuję. Thank you very much for this question. In fact, yes, we have been looking at the CLP rules for digitalization, but here I want to be really very clear. So there are certain information which are now obligatory on pack, and for instance, we know that the most problematic ones was the list of ingredients, because the list is getting longer and longer. So with this digitalization opportunity, this list of ingredients will no longer be obligatory on pack if it is available online. on a web page. Another element would be, for instance, the name and address of the responsible person, and there is a batch number. But we also understand that in some cases, for instance, in case of online sale, it's not really practical to have a batch number online because it changes, so there will be like few exceptions. But I think that the two elements, like the name, address of the responsible person, a list of ingredients, can only be available online, not on pack. Now, I have to also tell you that whatever I'm saying now, this relates to the proposal as we are drafting now, and we are still, we have to still make some procedural requirements within the Commission itself. The proposal, I hope you will see it in October. And then from the proposal, then there will be again some steps to make. There will be discussions in the Council and in Parliament. So what I'm telling you, it's really how we see as a Commission at this time.
Snapshot right now.
Exactly right now, but it's work in progress.
Okay,
thank you.
Very good. One more question here, then we'll go to the break. If there are other questions, keep it up your sleeve for the next panel, please.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Marco Piacentini. I'm from Italy, and I represent a global company in the life science testing. I have a question with respect to regulatory affairs. When we talk on a global level, we have three main regions. We have US region, where we have cosmetics and OTC. We have Europe, where all the categories of cosmetics belong under one unified definition. And then we have the Asian region, where we have like a drug, the quasi-drug and the cosmetic per se. So we have differences. And globally, we see a trend of cosmetic product shifting towards functional, so-called functional cosmetics that are becoming pretty close to real drugs in a certain sense. For example, when you treat acne-prone skin or similar aspects. How, from regulatory point of view, or from the Commission point of view, how do we face the fact that Europe has a different kind of understanding and management of these cosmetics nearby the functional area and the drug area?
I guess that's your sandbox, Silvia, right? Poproszę.
Yes, I mean, this is a very interesting question, I think, because it really looks at this global scale, because, I mean, whatever our consumers in Europe, they are buying products all over the world, right, and we know it. And so that's why, but we, and there are discussions in the international area, and we, my unit, my colleagues are really involved, so that we, I think that especially we understand with our counterpart in States, we are looking at each other and sort of, especially we hope that they are learning from our experience, because I think that our standards are really higher. You pointed out it's true. There are, for instance, it's known that certain products which are sold as drugs in the US, they are considered as cosmetics in our European market. But I think that we really have to now look locally, meaning that we have our regulation, cosmetics regulation, which has in annexes, it covers or lists certain restrictions for the use of certain substances. So, for instance, here we are very precise. So, in the EU, for instance, there is a substance which can be used in a certain concentration, like 0.02 or 0.2 or 0.5, and also it's also sometimes specified that this substance can be used in this concentration only in oral products, meaning in a toothpaste, for instance, and the substance in the other concentrations can be used for products that you apply on skin. So we have really very specific requirements here, and that's why in our perception, it's clear, because then it's clear about which substance in which concentration is used in products, and then this product can be called a cosmetic product, because if the substance is used in a different concentration, much higher, then there is a question: is it a medical product or is it an illegal cosmetic product? But then, of course, we look into the rules on medical products, and then so that we know that no, this cannot be a medical product, for instance. Then this is an illegal cosmetic product. So there are discussions ongoing about the borderline products, because I know that this qualification sometimes it's not so clear.
Put the mic back on.
My time is up, I think. I think when we look globally, I mean, we can just discuss and try to maybe find like a convergence. But what is really obligatory for us as a European authorities or industry is the rules which are set up in the regulation.
Okay, very good. John, very quickly, please. Yes.
It's a very good question. I mean, the paradigm case of this is often referred to as the treatment of sunscreens in the US. If you go into the US for your holidays, take a European sunscreen, because it's very difficult to get a new sunscreen on the market in the US because they're treated as OTC drugs. It's actually quite difficult to change these approaches. But you're absolutely right, the progress of the products in the industry is, in some respects, towards the borderline. It's difficult, but the good news is there is a lot of discussion that goes on. So just next week, in Brazil, there's a meeting of the International Collaboration of Cosmetics Regulators, which is the biggest reasons coming together to talk about regulation and compatibility. And Cosmetics puts a lot of investment in promoting the European approach and the European model just to try and make ground on this question of international compatibility. That's in everybody's interest, and all SMEs who are exporting out of Italy and France, that we have more compatible regulations in other countries. On the definition, that's quite a hard nut to crack, but we're trying.
Okay, very good. Yes.
Can I just comment one thing? Because, very briefly, because since I have expertise in all this regulatory region, I have to say the European regulation is by far the best, the most complete, and most secure. And we are ahead of a time to the US region. They're trying to, with the MOCRA, they're trying to copy us a little bit recently with a lot of confusion. And in Asia, they're far behind. So please progress in this direction. We trust in all of Europe. Thank you.
This is a perfect segue. Staying ahead of the game is the name of the next panel. And the competition, the international competition. Thank you so much. A big hand to the panel, the first panel. And as we make the switch to the next panel, talking about staying ahead of the game, tackling international competition in the cosmetics industry, that's roundtable 2. We are making that switch, and we are connected already with the first speaker. Why don't we go to Marie-Pierre Vedrenne, a member of the European Parliament, International Trade Committee, of the Renew Party Group. Fighting unfair competition is the name of the game, the concurrence déloyale. And Marie-Pierre, est-ce que vous m'entendez? Est-ce qu'on est connecté?
Bonjour à tous, j'espère que vous m'entendez également.
Oui, je vous entends très bien. Bonjour. Enchanté. Vous êtes juste à côté, ici, dans notre bâtiment, enfin le Parlement?
Alors malheureusement non, je suis en Bretagne.
Ah, en Bretagne. Oh, c'est très beau alors. C'est toujours une question de quelle température c'est la pluie là-bas. Ça détermine la saison.
C'est un mythe.
C'est un mythe. Ah, d'accord. Heureusement, ce serait un autre panel pour ça. Donc, commençons avec l'idée la première chose, vous voulez parler de protéger les IG non agricoles, made in France. Pourriez-vous en parler?
Alors, déjà, merci beaucoup et je suis très heureuse de pouvoir échanger avec vous sur l'ensemble des points que vous traitez aujourd'hui. C'est vrai que dans la Commission Commerce International, notre objectif est effectivement de protéger nos savoir-faire, qu'ils soient justement agricoles ou non agricoles. Et c'est vrai qu'on a ces fameuses indications géographiques qui nous permettent de protéger à l'échelle de l'Union européenne et à l'échelle internationale nos savoir-faire, nos pratiques d'une concurrence qui soit déloyale et qui remettent justement en question ces savoir-faire. Donc la Commission Commerce International, avec d'autres commissions au Parlement européen, a voulu vraiment aller plus loin dans la protection des indications géographiques et ne pas que se porter justement sur les indications géographiques agricoles, parce qu'on est souvent focalisé sur ce thème-là, mais les indications géographiques non agricoles qui nous permettent de nous protéger, comme je le disais, nos savoir-faire, mais aussi être pas que dans une logique de marque, est absolument important pour nous et pour protéger également votre filière.
Ok, très bien. Deuxième point, c'est la déforestation. Parce que bien sûr, il y a plein de compagnies qui font ça dans les autres coins du monde. Et comment adresser ça du point de vue cosmétique?
Bien sûr, c'est un sujet absolument essentiel. Et le texte sur la déforestation importée que le Parlement européen, avec le Conseil, a validé, joue un rôle déterminant. On voit bien à quel point ce texte pose des questions dans sa mise en œuvre avec les membres de la Commission Commerce Internationale. On revient par exemple d'Indonésie et c'était le sujet au cœur de nos débats. Donc pour nous, il fallait cibler certains secteurs dans le texte de la déforestation importée. On verra avec la clause de révision comment on élargit, mais l'enjeu, ça va être vraiment la mise en œuvre de ce texte. Parce qu'on a fixé notre cap à l'intérieur de la loi climat et tous les textes sur le Green Deal. Le texte déforestation importée joue un rôle déterminant, mais vraiment ce qui est capital, c'est comment on va aider à la fois nos entreprises et à la fois les entreprises extra-européennes à véritablement agir pour lutter contre la déforestation importée, travailler sur les questions de traçabilité et travailler un peu sur, comme on le fait avec le texte Le devoir de vigilance qui est en négociation à l'heure actuelle, sur la responsabilité des entreprises, qu'elles soient européennes ou qu'elles soient extra-européennes. Donc c'est vrai qu'on voit bien aussi que ce texte il pose beaucoup de questions à la fois pour nos entreprises et à l'intérieur de l'Union européenne, mais on a un enjeu aussi d'acceptabilité de ce texte sur la scène internationale. Et il nous faut, si on veut répondre à l'enjeu du changement climatique, embarquer toutes les parties prenantes. Mais on le sait bien, je le redis, la mise en œuvre pose énormément de questions, mais on a pour autant les leviers, que ce soit justement avec tout le travail sur aussi l'industrie spatiale, qui doivent nous permettre d'aider nos entreprises pour répondre à cet enjeu.
D'accord. C'est possible de rester avec nous? Je peux revenir à vous? Comment ça va avec votre emploi de temps?
Je peux rester jusqu'à 45. Après, je suis...
À 45. Bon, je reviens à vous. Restez là, parce que j'ai d'autres questions, mais je voudrais... I'd like to move to Luca Nava, General Manager Cosmetica Italia, Italian Personal Care Association, background in biosciences. What is the effect of the new regulation, the EU regulations that have been presented in accordance with the EU strategy on the Green New Deal? How is that affecting the sector, Luca? Briefly.
Yeah, thank you, Christopher. Thank you very much, and thank you for the organizer for inviting me to this very interesting conference. Just coming to your questions. Yes, as my friends John Chave said before, we are now, I'm in this business for more than 30 years. I've never seen in my work life a so huge amount of new regulation that are coming and affecting our sectors. Just to give an example, I never thought in my experience that one day I had to deal about urban wastewater treatment. This is what we are now called to do as a cosmetic industry because of a new regulation or a new directive that is coming and is changing the current directive on the urban wastewater treatment directive, where they say, the Commission say, we as in cosmetic industry together with the pharma industry are the most polluter sector with new type of micropollutants. But this is just an example to say that we are dealing.
It's like you have to be Veolia at the same time.
Yeah. But this is just to say that actually we are dealing with a lot of dossier. And part of my job daily is to take contact with our authorities in order to talk about this new dossier, and my colleagues do the same here in Brussels. I have to do that in Rome, talking about our sector and talking about the view and the position of our sector as far as all the new regulation. So it's true. We are in front of the new policy on the new European Green Deal. We have accordingly the new chemical strategy on sustainability, and according to this new legislation, there's a lot that is required now also to our sector, to our companies, and we are ready to afford all these new requirements. But as John said before, we must first of all guarantee the safety of our products in order to keep our consumer, that means ourselves, safe when using 8-10 times a day cosmetic products. And we have also to guarantee the fact that we have to answer to the needs of our consumers. They are always asking for new performance. They are always asking for new products. And sometimes we have some doubt that the approach taken so far can create some problem on our ability to innovate.
Okay, let me move quickly to Ivan Borrego, General Manager, Beauty Cluster in Spain, Beauty Business School founder. It's quite interesting as well. Next in Beauty founder as well. That's a digital medium. So very interesting aspects that you're active in. What about going international through these clusters, about joining forces through a cluster?
Thanks, Christopher.
To be more competitive on an international, that's the theme, right?
And thank you to everyone for giving me the opportunity to be here today to represent the Spanish cosmetic industry, also another relevant actor in the European industry. And thank you, and I'm really happy to see so many competitive clusters in cosmetics here today. As we have been together in Mexico, we have been together in Korea, we have been together in Las Vegas, and many other countries where through the Global Cosmetics Cluster Europe initiative, we have been trying to boost the European cosmetic industry around the world. Each region has its specific characteristics in Europe, Italy, France, Spain, and so others. But together we try to represent what is a European cosmetic industry, as it has been already mentioned in this table, around innovation, scientific approach, and many other specific characteristics of our industry. Many years ago, probably around 10 years ago, when we started the beauty cluster, we realized that there were other clusters in Europe with a similar purpose to what we were looking for, to increase the competitiveness of our industry, and also wishing to collaborate and to make partnerships for going international. During these years, we have worked together, trying to strengthen this kind of partnership and to develop specific initiatives around the world. Benchmarking missions, trade missions, visiting together exhibitions, analyzing also the markets with a lot of market data and trying to understand what is happening around the world thanks to this kind of collaboration. And we believe that this is the best possible initiative for the cosmetic industry to go international, go through clusters and this kind of partnerships, because for every euro that it's funded through the European Commission to this kind of initiatives, we get 7 through the private initiative for this kind of action. So we are moving a lot of companies around the world. We're moving companies together from different regions to go international. And we are really happy to see that this kind of collaboration that started around 8 to 10 years ago is today a reality, pushing activities like this today.
Very good, Ivan. I'd like to go to the next speakers, but the thing is that Marie-Pierre Vedrenne, vous êtes là? Est-ce que vous êtes toujours connecté? Oui, parce que je sais que vous devez partir dans 10 minutes. Alors, je voudrais revenir à vous. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions dans le public ici pour Marie-Pierre Vedrenne? Est-ce qu'il y a une question? Pas de question. J'ai une question pour vous. La lutte contre le contrefaçon, qu'est-ce que vous faites là-bas, de l'autre côté du parc, là-bas, au Parlement, contre ça?
Je pense que déjà, par rapport aux différents sujets et ce que j'ai pu entendre de la table ronde aussi précédente, je crois que déjà c'est important de dire que le côté Parlement européen aussi, justement, notre objectif est de garantir, à la fois on le voit bien, on a des normes et des règles qui sont de plus en plus parfois contraignantes à l'intérieur de notre marché intérieur. Nous, on veut renforcer le marché intérieur, accompagner l'entièreté de nos entreprises et également la filière cosmétique. On sait bien que la réglementation, notamment sur le domaine environnemental, sur le domaine sanitaire, sur les questions de santé publique, sont vues comme contraignantes, mais ce sont des opportunités aussi pour nos entreprises. Donc notre enjeu, c'est de jouer à armes égales avec les autres entités extérieures à l'Union européenne. Donc il y a tout le travail qu'on mène pour lutter contre cette concurrence déloyale, et cette concurrence déloyale, elle peut aussi se faire sur la question de la contrefaçon. Je pense que durant ce mandat, c'est vrai que nos priorités politiques, notre agenda, il a été aussi bousculé par le contexte, que ce soit le choc du Covid, que ce soit maintenant la guerre en Ukraine. Mais en tout cas, c'est un sujet qui est extrêmement important, la question de la contrefaçon, parce que là aussi, il y a des conséquences pour la santé publique. Donc jusqu'alors, on n'a pas eu suffisamment de textes précis qui permettent à avancer sur ce sujet, mais c'est là aussi où tout le travail sur les douanes à l'échelle de l'Union européenne, il nous faut renforcer les moyens pour justement les douanes européennes pour pouvoir lutter contre la contrefaçon. Donc je pense que les choses avanceront aussi progressivement dans le prochain mandat, mais je crois qu'il y a eu en tout cas au cours de ce mandat une vraie prise de conscience aussi que l'Union européenne doit travailler sur sa politique industrielle, beaucoup plus accompagner ses entreprises. On a toute la présentation des nouveaux textes sur la sécurité économique européenne. Donc je pense que c'est un cadre global qui est extrêmement important et où le lien avec toutes nos entreprises et votre filière doit être aussi renforcé. Et je sais qu'il y avait des représentants de la Commission européenne qui intervenaient tout à l'heure aussi. Je pense que on le voit bien avec tous ces textes, par exemple, sur le volet numérique, sur d'autres sujets. On a besoin que la Commission européenne dispose des moyens suffisants pour la mise en œuvre. Et ça, je crois que c'est un sujet sur lequel il va falloir qu'on travaille pendant la fin du mandat et dans les précédentes années.
Est-ce qu'on peut parler au sujet des chaînes de valeur, de développement de filières dans les pays tiers pour favoriser les industries européennes et locales?
Alors, c'est un sujet forcément pendant le choc du Covid sur lequel le Parlement européen s'est planché avec les autres institutions européennes, parce qu'on le voit bien, on a besoin d'avoir des chaînes de valeur qui soient plus résilientes, qui soient sûres, qui aussi apportent sécurité, prévisibilité, stabilité pour nos entreprises, pour nos investisseurs, à la fois au sein de l'Union européenne et à la fois en extérieur. Donc là, c'est des sujets, par exemple, sur lesquels on retravaille dans le domaine des matières premières critiques. Donc c'est absolument capital pour nous de créer cet environnement de sécurité et de stabilité. C'est vrai que je pense que malheureusement peut-être à l'heure actuelle c'est fait de manière très sectorielle et moins de manière transversale, mais en tout cas là encore c'est une véritable prise de conscience. Donc c'est pour ça qu'on essaye de tisser aussi des partenariats à la fois avec des pays tiers dans une logique aussi de créer de la valeur ajoutée sur place. Parce que si on ne crée pas de la valeur ajoutée sur place, si par exemple on exporte seulement des produits et on ne transforme rien dans les pays tiers, on n'arrivera pas justement aussi à travailler sur la crédibilité de l'Union européenne dans l'ensemble des États tiers. Et ça, c'est des éléments aussi sur lesquels il nous faut absolument avancer. Donc c'est là où les initiatives de la Commission telles que Global Gateway ou les partenariats sectoriels qu'il peut y avoir sont intéressants, mais on a toujours aussi un problème de moyens financiers qui sont alloués à ces ambitions. Par exemple, le fonds de souveraineté qui a certes peut-être changé de nom, mais pas suffisant en termes d'ambition financière pour pouvoir nous permettre de travailler à la création de chaînes de valeur qui soient plus sûres et qui soient plus durables.
D'accord. Je sais que I'm going to switch to English because I want to tell the audience this is your last chance to pose a question to a living, breathing member of the European Parliament during this event. And if you have a question about what the Parliament's doing to support the cosmetics industry, this is your moment. I guess everybody is happy and all the questions were answered. I think, Marie-Pierre, I think we're going to vous libérer at this point. Thank you very much. A big hand to Marie-Pierre. Big hand. Merci, Marie-Pierre. À la prochaine fois.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let us move on then to Caroline Pugastel, head of the Capital Innovation, Chanel Parfum Beauté. Et là, on va parler en français. J'ai une question pour vous. D'abord, les marques nationales européennes ont-elles à craindre un bashing international organisé? Et le cas échéant, comment se préparent-elles aux risques réputationnels? Oh là là.
Bon, c'est une dure question. Hein.
Bah oui. Ouais.
Déjà, merci beaucoup de m'accueillir ici, de m'avoir invité. Donc effectivement, je pense qu'on l'a dit depuis le début, les clients de nos marques et les citoyens en général de la cosmétique, mais d'une manière générale, sont attentistes de quelque chose qui va beaucoup plus loin que la pure qualité. Et en plus, ils ont à leur disposition maintenant de nombreux moyens de challenger, de questionner un peu leurs habitudes de consommation. Donc en fait, nous, de notre côté, on constate d'une part des médias qui sont spécialisés comme UFC Que Choisir, ou il y en a bien d'autres, ça n'est qu'un exemple, qui se regroupent en fait en mouvements globaux européens et qui de ce fait mutualisent leurs études, leurs moyens, géographiquement sont plus étendus et ils deviennent également capables de mener des investigations multicritères. Donc ça, ce sont des éléments qui génèrent pour les marques, toutes les marques, hein, pas que nous bien sûr, une accumulation d'alertes et qui nous exposent assez fortement. Après, on a des applications, hein, pour ne pas les citer, comme par exemple Yuka qui diffuse des situations un peu anxiogènes pour les consommateurs, parce qu'en fait, il ne justifie pas d'expertise réellement scientifique pour pouvoir évaluer la sécurité des produits en général. Donc, même si effectivement la volonté de ces applications est très vertueuse, hein, d'informer le consommateur, leurs études sont essentiellement basées sur la présence ou l'absence d'un ingrédient, sans prendre en compte ni les quantités, ni les doses utilisées, ni le fait qu'il y ait un ou X produits. Et tout ça, c'est autant d'éléments qui, dans notre quotidien, pour nous tous ici, devons mettre en œuvre pour assurer la sécurité de nos produits dans les études qu'on fait dans notre industrie. Et puis enfin, alors là on est face aux institutions, donc je ne sais pas si je vais oser dire la suite. C'est vrai que les sujets sont, enfin les consommateurs sont le centre d'intérêt de toutes les institutions et les institutions se saisissent de ces sujets et démultiplient les décisions, la réglementation qui est, je dirais, complexe, parfois même contradictoires, et qui au fond font peser sur les marques une responsabilité relativement lourde qui n'est pas toujours aisée à piloter. Donc on l'a dit tout à l'heure, même dans certains pays, alors on va parler des USA, ça va être plus facile, safe and compliant are not enough. Finalement, dans des pays comme ça challenge le bénéfice-risque, et effectivement, grâce à l'avancée technique des outils de mesure qui sont maintenant extrêmement évolués, on peut mesurer par exemple des impuretés à des ppb, des pièces par milliard. Donc c'est tout petit. Donc in fine, qu'est-ce qu'on fait pour se préparer? Avant tout, je crois qu'il y a le leitmotiv de la rigueur scientifique et de la sécurité qui prévalent. Hein. De toute façon, ça reste une priorité, c'en est une. Il faut continuer à le démontrer, à le revendiquer. Après, il y a la possibilité, on le fait déjà, de mettre en place des veilles réglementaires bien sûr, et aujourd'hui ça en fait partie, mais aussi des veilles, je dirais, médiatiques, qui permettent de détecter les sujets émergents qui vont orienter les priorités de notre secteur et driver un petit peu l'effort collectif. Et ça, pour le coup, c'est un élément où des organisations de filières comme la Cosmetic Valley qui nous réunit aujourd'hui, je pense, peuvent avoir un vrai rôle à jouer en accompagnant la communauté en avance de phase, un peu sur de l'analyse, de la recherche, de la détection de ces agitations médiatiques qui seront demain des sujets extrêmement sensibles.
Okay.
Et puis le dernier point, pas le moindre quand même, l'innovation. Je pense que là c'est le sujet de tous. De toute façon l'innovation, toutes les marques sont dans des process d'amélioration continue. Donc il faut faire évoluer les formules, les matières, les packaging, les ingrédients. Donc ça c'est un must et c'est comme ça qu'on avancera. Et je pense que pour conclure, c'est plutôt, pour répondre clairement à la question, c'est plutôt être dans une posture d'acteur et actif et non pas passif à attendre que les décisions nous tombent dessus parce que c'est beaucoup plus difficile à gérer.
Très bien, ok. Et puis je reviendrai chez vous, à vous, tout à l'heure. But I would like to move to Ivan Massari, and interesting that that Caroline mentioned about packaging because you happen to own APS Cosmetics Packaging. Sarebbe interessante di sapere un po' che pensa di questo. E anche, vous êtes vicepresidente Polo nella Cosmesi. Polo nella Cosmesi. E ogni anno c'è un Polo Innovation Day in Italia. Yep. Che succede questo giorno là?
So the Polo della Cosmesi is one of the two main associations of the cosmetic industries in Italy. We have about 100 companies that with us that are all along the value chain of the cosmetic product, from packaging to machinery to consultant, formulation, filling, and everything that brings to the final product that you can find in the shops. And that is
that day, of course, is it aimed at, is it B2B or is it B2C consumer?
It's a B2B event. Let's say that it is divided into two main areas: an exhibiting area where the company can exhibit and present to the market their innovations, and an area of conference where every year we focus on a specific theme, and this year we will be talking about sustainability, just to connect with what Ava was saying and why we need to have the help and the support of the European Union, because we know what it means to create a product, so maybe we need to talk before defining the rule. And what will be allowed, what will not be allowed, and how to treat the sustainability, because sustainability is a matter where we can have. It's a good thing that on one side the consumer is more and more interested in green values, let's say.
There's demand there, right?
But we need to be careful because it's a very, let's say, it's a scientific matter. So we do not have to let fake news to spread around, and we need to focus on what is really, what science says, not what our heart, our perception of the world around us.
Staying on this, the fact you want to stay competitive in the world, but at the same time you're facing this regulation. As a your packaging company, how do you deal with that?
Well, if you talk to me, I made packaging in ceramics, so I'm very close to this kind of stuff. But for those who use plastic. Or paperboard and these kind of things, they need to be very, very selective on how to consider, how to transform the material, how to mix them both with the product, and how this part will have to be dropped by the consumer. So we need also to be careful that we need to harmonize also the rules toward the European countries on how to recycle. So we need not to focus only on the reusing. That is something that is really in knowledge now, the reuse part, but the recycle part need to be fostered and very potentially all the countries that...
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's regulation, but there's also the consumer demand. They want to see less packaging, right?
Yeah,
so,
one of our duties is also to inform and to teach to the consumer what they are using and how this can be prevented to make any harm to the environment.
Which that Innovation Day could help.
Yeah,
maybe.
So you are all invited on October 12 in Italy.
Okay, all right, you heard it.
And we will talk about sustainability and innovation.
Bravo, bravo. I have a question over here. Yes, sir. Yes.
Sanzanni, Italia, sono un formulatore cosmetico. Chiedo scusa a Ivan, al mio amico Ivan, ma la domanda non è per lui, è per la dottoressa Caroline. Volevo farla prima. Una società così importante come Chanel, quanto investe in percentuale, in termini di...
Oh, il faut mettere... no, aspetta. Deve mettere... il faut mettere les écouteurs. Ça marche pas? Ah, mince. You can't say it in English?
Yes.
Very simply.
Ripeti, Pierre, che provo a tradurre io.
Ok. Microfono? Ce l'abbiamo microfono?
Ce la facciamo?
Vabbè.
Vorrei sapere, una società importante come Chanel quanto investe in percentuale in un anno in sicurezza, transizione e digitalizzazione?
Combien nous investissons en fait dans la transition, c'est ça, digital et sustainability, c'est ça la question, Claire? Oui, ok. Je sais pas, je ne veux pas. En termes de sécurité. Alors en fait, ce sont des éléments qui sont hyper importants chez nous, mais j'ai pas de chiffres à vous communiquer. Nous sommes une société de 38 000 personnes. On a 200 chercheurs qui sont tous dédiés à la sécurité des produits cosmétiques, qui font de la R&D. Donc après, c'est pas mesuré dans notre maison en pourcentage de chiffre d'affaires, donc je ne peux pas vous le communiquer malheureusement, mais c'est effectivement l'axe premier, tant sur le packaging que sur les formulations, que sur la recherche d'ingrédients, les filières, etc. C'est un point majeur, ainsi que dans nos usines également.
Okay. Any other questions at this point? No questions. Also, the speakers of the panels, before or after, you can also jump in if you want. If you want to add something to that, we can do that. So anything you want to add, okay. Including François Bonneau, si ça vous intéresse de faire un petit commentaire, parfois. Ça va aussi. Let us move on then to, let's see, I think Ivan Borrego, can I come back to you, Ivan? Examples of actions that you've done. Can you give a concrete example if they worked or if they didn't work, potential ideas for the future? Can you give us a couple of things there?
Yeah, for sure. Well, some examples of action that we have done is we have developed a specific business place to work together all the competitive clusters in cosmetics in Europe, to exchange offers, to exchange demand, to exchange ideas, to innovate together. We have done a lot of benchmarking activities around the world.
But innovate together what? Concretely what?
Innovate together, innovate the companies.
Yeah.
Not the clusters. So we just link the companies with needs, with offers, with demand on innovation, and we try to be the link for those kind of projects, because sometimes you can solve those problems in your region, but sometimes it's better that if you can also collaborate with other European regions.
Give us a problem. What's a problem? What is a problem that is a concrete thing?
Well, it depends. Sometimes it's a matter of raw materials for cosmetics. Sometimes it's a problem with essential oils, with packaging, wherever. A scientific approach on artificial intelligence for selecting new ingredients. And sometimes you have the knowledge, or sometimes you don't have the knowledge, but you can share with other European companies trying also to innovate for going international. So we put the tools on the table, the clusters together through the Global Cosmetics Clusters Europe, with this business place, with a lot of activities together, participating in activities like Polo Innovation Days together, or like Cosmetics 360, or Barcelona Perfumery Congress in Barcelona.
Okay. Any questions at this point? Let me ask, Luca Nava, you were about to say something. Go ahead.
Yes, but if you have a question, I can wait for your question.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, then I'll ask you.
Because I just wanted to add something that came to my mind listening to the question and answer session before. When John and another person said that the European regulation is a sort of benchmark that has been used all over the world, and the appeal was still to maintain this model as the future regulation in the different regions in the world. And I totally agree with that, of course, and I would like to add a point on that. Why since 1976, so it's almost 50 years, we have sector have been regulated. Why this model has been a success? Because it guaranteed the safety of products and the safety of our consumer. Why? Because, or how? Through the assessment of the risk. I want to be clear. We are looking at the fact that the new coming regulation, there's a movement towards hazard more than risk. It's technical, but it means that we are sure that by following a principle of risk assessment, where competent people can go and evaluate the risk associated to the use of the products, including exposure, is the right way to go on with regulation in order to maintain the paramount task of this regulation, this safety.
Okay.
Sorry, maybe I've been
that's all right. That's fine.
Much technical, but this is a very key principle we have to keep.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Cosmetic Italia, can you tell us concretely how you are helping, supporting SMEs, for instance?
Yeah, we have more or less 640 companies, and the most of them are SMEs, and they make about 90% of the Italian market. How we support them? We support them, first of all, and this is the core business of the association, through continuous information and teaching about the regulations. So we are, for them, the contact part where they can ask information about regulations, but we have also activities in order to help our SMEs to become international. So we have activities where we bring companies together with the Italian Trade Agency, for instance, and we bring them abroad to meet potential customers or to participate to exhibition all over the world. And first of all is Cosmoprof, that is the most important exhibition in the world. We are partnered with Cosmoprof in building this exhibition.
And we've been talking about how all these problems, these issues to deal with, are European issues that should be solved on a European level. Absolutely. What feedback do you get from those SMEs about what needs to be done at a European level? Let's hear it here, because this is how we vocalize. This is the grassroots building. Yeah. These are grassroots. These are the regions. These are the businesses, everybody. And this is where we need to hear from you.
Yeah.
What those concerns are.
Oh, it's still about the fact that they see a lot of demands coming from regulation that many times can make difficult their lives in terms of making new products and making innovative products.
So they know there has to be a green transition. It has to happen, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They are already doing a lot in terms of transition. We are part of the project John mentioned before, Commit for Our Planet, and we are sharing this project towards our SMEs in order to have them participating. But the first point, please help us to survive at the end, and please bring our voice to the institution in Rome and institution in Brussels.
So don't come down like a ton of bricks on me, right? For instance. Je voudrais passer à Caroline de nouveau. J'ai une autre question pour vous. En Europe, l'internationalisation des PME passe notamment par la politique de clusters. De quelle manière les groupes comme le vôtre peuvent-ils également s'appuyer sur les dynamiques de réseau?
En fait, les clusters...
Mouton.
J'ai du mal.
Oui.
En fait, les clusters sont créés pour favoriser la collaboration, l'innovation et finalement la compétitivité de notre industrie. Donc, c'est naturel et relativement évident que nous appuyions sur les organisations comme celle-là pour dynamiser la recherche, par exemple, en participant à des groupes de recherche ou à des projets de recherche, pour s'intéresser également aux plateformes collaboratives, pour soutenir, je dirais, des enjeux plus globaux, plus transversaux sur les enjeux de la filière. Et lorsque l'on a préparé cette table ronde, il y a un sujet qui est ressorti énormément et qui, voilà, que je voudrais porter, mais au nom de tous, toutes les marques, qui est l'éducation du consommateur. Je pense qu'il y a un point très particulier et un focus à faire sur ce sujet autour de l'éducation du consommateur. Je pense que le cluster et les organisations de la filière sont des véhicules extraordinaires pour nous accompagner dans ce mouvement.
Donc, et vous êtes avec Chanel, ça c'est un des géants, des grands.
Oui, mais les autres aussi en ont besoin.
Mais il y a des PME qui sont super importants aussi comme filière à vous, n'est-ce pas?
Bien sûr, bien sûr.
Il faut les aider, les soutenir.
Les onboarder sur ces sujets-là et dans ces filières et dans ces clusters, absolument.
Donc c'est ça, avec ces clusters qui jouent ce rôle. OK. Très bien. Yes. Ivan, one more. Your work with the Global Cosmetics Cluster and Go for Cosmetics, membership in the Global Cosmetics Cluster. So all this about clusters. How are you working with that, including your own company, right?
Yeah, including my own company. Why not? Well, we participated in this Global Cosmetic Cluster. That was a really beautiful experience, interesting and useful. I'm happy to see here several friends that participated together with us, me and also Ivan Borrego was there. The main goal of the Global Cosmetic Cluster was to help our companies in the internationalization process.
Compete on a global stage.
Yeah, exactly. So we took them to know different markets, to understand how to approach a different market, and to analyze the differences that you can have from a market in the Far East to the US, to the European, to the East European, to see all the difference. The most important value that we took home with this project was the fact to know each other, to understand each other, and to learn from each other. A very good thing of our industry, of our sector, is that we are all competitors, but we are all aiming to work together to solve our problem. Then we can fight on the market. Okay, that's another story.
Yeah.
But we need to cooperate and to make a front together to fight the battles that we can find on the market, but also on the regulatory side.
How this is a question to any of you, how on a global level, how do you compete when there is tough regulation about being greener, and there are companies outside, they don't have to play that ball? So how do you do that? I mean, you market things, I guess, as being greener and more earth-friendly, and the customers out there outside of the EU, they buy that because of that, even though there might be Chinese products that are cheaper?
Well, let's say that there are also different type of consumers.
Yeah.
And so there are consumers that are really sensible to this kind of, let's say, problems, to this kind of matters.
Right.
We also can count on something that is really important, that is also quality.
There's a cachet, the European cachet.
Exactly. So we can put together and mix together the fact that we are producing a safe product and a high-quality product, and in a lot of cases, a luxury product.
Okay, so
if you're looking for only for the cheapest, okay, we are not what you're looking for.
Yeah, but this regulation, the new regulations and the ones that are coming up, how much could that be a ball and chain on you?
Oh, sure it is, but we are not saying lower our requirements.
Okay.
We are just saying to raise the requirement for those who are taking product into Europe.
Yeah. Caroline, un peu?
Oui, je crois qu'il ne peut pas y avoir de concession sur la qualité et la sécurité des produits.
Ouais.
C'est pas possible.
Non.
Il faut tirer la régulation vers le haut et pas vers le bas.
Okay.
C'est clair.
D'accord. Okay. Other comments? The two Ivans over there? Anything more?
No, I fully agree with what has been just said. We have not taken compromise on safety, on performance of the products. Not only safety, we have to meet what we promise to our customers. And of course, we have now in front of us a new team that is about sustainability.
Yeah.
And we have to be clear, sustainability is not only a fashion word now. Sustainability is the possibility to survive for all our companies. So we have to deal with this topic, absolutely. And there are big companies that are already in front of this journey. There are small and medium enterprises that have to start the journey. For us as an association, we have the responsibility to help this company to go through this journey.
Okay. Any other? Yes, please. I have two questions. Yeah.
In fact, my question is for...
Give us your name again and title, please.
My name is Saljan Tokas, École Biologie Industrielle, France.
D'accord.
So my question is this for this roundtable and the previous one?
Okay.
So because we are talking about we need to educate the consumers. We need to reinforce all the regulations. We need to think really that the safety of the consumers. And I have a lot of concerns on the digital labeling. So it is.
Why do you have concerns about digital labeling? Isn't that a good idea?
I think that we need to work and think more on the digital labeling, especially concerning the cosmetic products without packaging. Currently, you can find on the market, and also the because we are talking about the SMEs and the very, very small companies selling their products. It's the fabrication artisanale.
Right.
So I just want to understand the point of view of the round table.
The fabrication artisanale, yeah. Any comments on this side of that?
Yes, digital labeling is a great opportunity to provide more information to the consumers. This is for sure. We have in Italy a new local law on packaging and on the labeling on the type of material and sorting procedure to collect and recycle this material. And digital labeling is a great opportunity to provide some more information than the simple one that you can find on the label. Of course, digital labeling cannot, at this time, replace totally the information that must be on the label. And on the other hand, we know that looking at the different regulation, not only the cosmetic regulation, by the packaging waste, green claims. We can list a long number of regulations that are asking for new information on packaging. And if we think to very small products like lipstick, how can we afford it? So digital is a good opportunity to afford technical problem, but also in the same way to provide more information to consumer. There's another regulation that is coming that will ask us to provide a product passport that must be digital, where we will provide all the information about the product in order also to check the previous life of the product when it was put on the market, where it went, and so on.
Did that answer your question, possibly, or do you have another question on that?
So thank you very much, but it's really my concern. So it's I fully agree with your comments. So it's all those information will really help the consumers. But for me, it's really fit the big companies. But for the small ones, how they will do that? So for this reason, I'm insisting again how we will deal with the production artisanale for a.
Yes.
I can.
Oops, sorry. Yes, please.
I can try to answer you with a practical example of a couple of projects that I followed personally. One was for a quite big company.
Yeah,
it goes out. Okay.
Okay.
One of these projects was for a quite big company producing packaging, and the other one was for a very small company producing packaging again. The solution that we found for the, let's say, big company was to insert inside their jar an RFID tag, where the customer can scan with an RFID compliant phone, and so it will be transferred onto the website with a lot of information about that product. And this was also considered very useful also to define that that was the original product and not a copy or a dupe or something like that. And in this case, you can get all the history of the product regarding production batch and this kind of thing, and all the ingredients. This was quite an expensive solution because it was an information technology project. It means that you need to add something to your product, in this case a jar for cream and these kind of things. And then you have also the customer that need to pay this higher price. And the low price solution was to use a QR code that replaced the label at the back of a lipstick. So with the QR code, at the same time, you can, using your phone, using your smartphone, reach a web page with all the information that you need, with all the information that will not be possible to fit in a very small physical label. Even if by the regulation that are now active on that physical label, the QR code wasn't enough, because we still need to add the ingredients and the batch code, the production job, and all these kind of things. So for small product like lipstick, or even worse, a pencil, this need to be made on the external package, on the unit carton box, if present, or at the moment, if we need to put both an electronic tag, an electronic label, and a regular label, it is really a matter of room where to put all these things.
Yeah, it's fascinating. The
different solution can be found.
Yeah. In labeling, you could have a whole conference on that, I guess, couldn't you? I have a question here, and then quickly over here, too. Please.
Marco Piacentini again. More than a question is a comment. I mean, we have a sets of regulation popping out, and I understand the environment of the regulation is getting complex, but there is a solution, and the solution is competence. And we need to ask Europe to support countries and supply chains and companies to invest in competencies in order that the regulation are crystal clear to all the members of the supply chain. In this way, we can start producing by the the rules. Still today, the application of regulation is done after the R&D is completed. Or in the best of the situation, the R&D is trying to comply with the regulation with respect to the so-called blacklist coming from the market. But then other kind of troubles are investigated when the product is already done. So because we don't have a deep understanding of all the regulation popping out. So it's very important to train and to develop local competencies, and I think Europe here is playing a big role because it can give us the support to the association, the companies, the supply chain to increase with this respect. And then, just to conclude, when this is done, it doesn't matter if it's a big company or a small medium enterprise, because I guarantee you that for qualifying a full cosmetic product, it's enough one person with the good knowledge, and I can prove it with practical example if needed.
And you can do that during the coffee break. In 4 minutes. We have a quick question over here, please.
Oui, merci. Madame Girard, pour la région Centre-Val de Loire, j'ai une question pour Madame Plougastel. Vous avez évoqué l'enjeu de l'éducation consommateur. L'information...
Repoussez-le.
Si l'information des consommateurs n'est qu'une partie de l'éducation des consommateurs, qu'est-ce que vous entendez concrètement par le terme éducation et enjeu de cette éducation des consommateurs ?
Je pense que ça recouvre de multiples sujets. Alors tout ce dont on a parlé et là précédemment sur le labelling, la compréhension des produits, la compréhension des matières, la compréhension des enjeux, les problématiques aussi de risques et de dangers qui sont parfois un peu mêlés. On parlait tout à l'heure des applications qui finalement font le focus sur la présence ou l'absence d'un ingrédient sans mesurer la quantité. Enfin voilà, c'est pas suffisant que de dire on en utilise ou pas. Il faudrait plutôt nuancer pour comprendre quels sont les risques d'en utiliser un peu, beaucoup, pas beaucoup. Donc voilà, c'est des choses comme ça. Après, je pense qu'on est tous alors, à la fois consommateurs, donc c'est aussi notre rôle à tous, tant en tant que société et individuellement et en tant qu'appartenant à des communautés et à des clusters et à des industries, que de pousser les messages positifs. Et puis après, je pense que toutes les marques font leur meilleur effort pour informer leurs consommateurs au mieux, sachant que après c'est complexe quand même parce que on voit aussi au niveau des différentes régions, des réglementations, il n'y a pas d'uniformisation nécessaire des sujets. Je pense qu'il faudrait se pencher sur le sujet très concrètement. Hein. Quand on en a parlé lorsqu'on a préparé cette table ronde, on a vraiment mis en avant ce sujet en se disant qu'il fallait que l'on en parle et qu'on essaye d'avancer sur le sujet. Je pense que on n'a pas trouvé les solutions tout de suite, mais c'est un bon sujet, c'est un bon thème.
Absolument. Et on peut en parler davantage pendant le coffee break. Big round of applause to the speakers. So we got a 10-minute coffee break. We get back together at 4:30. Coming up is meeting the cosmetics industry challenges, harnessing new opportunities through research, innovation, and skills. Keep in mind the social nets at Cosmetic Valley, at EU_COR. See you in 10 minutes.
They just search for the MOS or whatever it is.
Shops. Almost
You know,
every weekend, and I was
We don't. Sì, ecco, io rispondo.
Sei già intervenuto? Posso provarti un secondo per una breve intervista?
Sì, ok, stavo cercando proprio per l'intervista. Yes, of course. My colleague, yes, okay. Cosmetic has created a website called Cosmetic. No, I know this. You know that? Maybe just a few words about it. Exactly. That's in my notes. Absolutely. I will do it. Okay, great.
Visibility that in limbo. Yeah, you saw how many efforts into this organization.
Ok, ça marche. Ouais. Allez, eh ben, on va voir si ça marche.
Ouais, de ouf.
Jones quick.
Oh, that'll be quick. I haven't seen them.
I don't know. He's too old. Richiamati all'ordine.
Invece loro fanno i pannelli accoppiati, così si fa prima, sei fuori. Ma c'è il concetto giapponese, ma poi deve andare a smontare.
On les laisse dans leur écosystème, justement, aussi, par exemple en Finlande.
Oui.
Le président va s'en aller à 16h55.
Ah, donc quelques mots après, à la fin, peut-être Oui, 16h55. 16h55. D'accord. 2 mots à la fin, avant de partir. D'accord. Welcome back. Oh, is this working? Yes, I think so. Welcome back, everyone. Prendere voi posti, prenez votre place. Ihre Sitze nehmen, bitte. While you're taking your seats, I wanted to add a little fun fact on this. We do need to get started very soon so we don't fall behind. And there's plenty more networking later, after this. Just wanted to mention, there's something I have to mention from Cosmetics Europe, is that at the beginning of this year, and I noticed this myself when I was doing my homework, is that Cosmetics Europe, we were talking about the consumer and informing the consumer. We had this back and forth on that. And there's a thing called Co-Smile. There's a thing called Co-Smile, and it's quite amazing because it's a European ingredient database that the consumer, when the consumer wants to know, you go to that database. And what does it have? It has information on 30,000 ingredients. 30,000. So that's very important to know and to mention, and could perhaps be developed further. And it is also not just in Shakespeare. It's in 14 languages. So think about that. That is very important in informing the consumer and in the truth in the ingredients, because there's so much disinformation out there, isn't there? And we got to fight it with that. It's a very important aspect. Now, also, before we get started on this panel, there's someone has to leave soon, and I wanted to have. Je voulais avoir encore un petit mot, c'est possible, de François Bonneau. On va parler en français ou en anglais? It's up to you.
En français.
En français, d'accord. Donc jusqu'à maintenant, ce que vous avez entendu, ça vous encourage, qu'on a pu entendre de l'industrie et aussi bien sûr de la Commission et des policy makers en même temps de ce sujet. Je pense que c'était un bon échange, n'est-ce pas?
Oui, un bon niveau de compréhension, me semble-t-il, avec les enjeux bien posés. J'ai envie de dire que, après avoir entendu tout ce qui a été exprimé, pour l'Europe, l'enjeu, c'est d'associer l'image culturelle des produits, les éléments de qualité et de sécurité qui sont établis, qui bougent, etc., mais qui sont établis en faveur de la production en Europe, c'est clair, et aussi, et ça c'est peut-être nouveau, mettre en avant les éléments qui touchent à l'environnement, oui, qui touchent à la naturalité, de manière à ce que le consommateur soit vraiment très en phase avec ses valeurs. Le consommateur aujourd'hui en Europe est de plus en plus attentif à ces éléments-là. Exigeant sur la naturalité, exigeant sur la prise en compte de l'environnement. Et si nous arrivons à associer l'image de la cosmétique, à la fois son image culturelle bien installée, etc., en faveur de l'Europe et de la France, et ces éléments-là, alors le consommateur va se retrouver là-dedans et continuera durablement, j'en suis persuadé, à préférer un produit européen. Et cette image-là, on peut aussi la projeter. Voilà. On peut aussi la projeter. Dans le monde entier. Absolument. L'Europe doit avoir une longueur d'avance là-dessus. Pensons que les éléments d'environnement, les éléments de naturalité ne sont pas des contraintes, ce sont des plus pour la compétitivité de nos produits.
Voilà, absolument. Très bien. Encore un petit applause pour François Bonneau, président du Centre-Val de Loire, région. Merci beaucoup et bon retour. Merci. Donc, let's bring up the last panel, please. We're talking about brain power. Okay, the last speakers, please, if you could come up, because now we're talking about brain power. How do we make all of this happen? And of course, the companies, they can't do that by themselves. They need, up here, please. We could also just kind of hang out here too, if you want. That would be fine. I like it a little bit more, convivial, right? But anyway, the brain power, the research and development, the skills gap that we have in pretty much every industry in Europe. We need more brain power. And how do we do that? That's what we want to work on right now. Meeting the cosmetics industry challenges, harnessing new opportunities through research, innovation, and skills. Now, before we get started with the speakers, I need to mention that we had on the list Massimiliano Salini, member of the European Parliament, on the Industry, Research, and Energy Committee. Unfortunately, he couldn't come. But he sent me a message about how it's important to talk about this, and maybe also, the speakers can elaborate, is that there are regulations on the packaging and packaging waste regulation, PPWR. He is shadow rapporteur on that. He says that there are things that need to be fixed. As well as the Commission's proposal on the scope and definition of micropollutants in the Urban Wastewater Treatment Directive. We talked about urban wastewater, right, in the last panel. So those two things need to be discussed, and unfortunately he can't be here, but maybe we can discuss this. Maybe we can get some input from the speakers, even maybe some of you out here. So that's an important thing. How can we use research and development, R&I, to address that issue, address those issues? And how can the EU be supportive in it and not throw the bâton dans les roues, as they say in France, the spanner in the works, right? So I'm throwing it out there, and let's then begin with Valentina Pina, and who is project advisor at the European Innovation Council and SME agency ISMEA, who we've already heard from ISMEA, but we need to hear more about this, on building alliances between business, public research, banks, and the EU. How do we do that? How do we increase that synergy? Valentina, per favore.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be part of your event, because I have seen this partnership on smart specialization on cosmetics emerging since the beginning. When it was created, I was working in DG Region. So for me, it's a pleasure to see all the work that you have done in the last 3 years and the level of integration that you have achieved between all regions. So concerning your question, for this invitation, it's an excellent opportunity for me to present the opportunities that are open, currently open under the new European Innovation Agenda, and in particular the opportunities related to regional innovation valleys. Basically, as you probably know, strengthening synergies between research and innovation programs and policies is an horizontal priority of the EU. And in the framework of the new European Innovation Agenda flagship, Regional Innovation Valleys, the Commission invites regions and innovation ecosystem stakeholders to work together in order to enhance synergies and to have to increase the impact of the EU instruments, also combining the resources available at regional and national level with the resources available at EU level. The key messages that I want to give you that under this flagship, Regional Innovation Valleys, there are 2 calls, coordinated calls, one financed under ERDF regulation, I3, Interregional Innovation Investments, that my colleague presented in the first panel, and another call under Horizon Europe, European Innovation Ecosystems. The 2 calls are coordinated calls in scope, and the idea is to help the stakeholders, like the stakeholders of the cosmetic industry, to better connect together and cooperate in innovation in order to face all the challenges related to the green and digital transition and all the specific challenges that can be related to the EU burning challenges.
Valentina, can you maybe give an example maybe of a kind of a project that would fit that call?
Yes, of course. We have 2 different types of projects. Under I3, for example, you have value chain projects facilitated by ecosystem actors, where the ecosystem actors join forces in order to help companies to build concrete investment in any sort of innovation. Can be product innovation, process innovation, any sort of innovation. Those actors basically join forces. They get funded 70% for their investments, but investments that are related to value chain, where they show that there is a complementarity between what they are doing together, and they have to demonstrate that what they are investing in is helping them to become more competitive at global level, to make the European industry more competitive at global level. And this is exactly what you were discussing so far. Plenty of challenges, green transition, digital transition, that are relevant for those 2 transitions. apply to the cosmetic sector. So you have plenty of potential projects that you could present under I3. And to get 70% of funding for your industries. And another important information is that I3 is supporting the industry in the investments during the demonstration, validation, testing, but including the commercialization that is normally not supported by Horizon Europe. So it is very interesting for them as an opportunity for getting the support until up to the commercialization. The other important element to underline is that I3 also cover all those sort of soft measures that are needed, for example, to protect your property right via patenting, certification and standardization issues, and also activities that might be needed in discussion with consumers. Meaning that if you include in your projects consumers association to define certain aspects of how to set up systems for digital uptake of innovation, etc., is perfectly eligible, and also consumer association can get founded. So it's a perfect instrument for the challenges that you are facing.
Yeah, okay, good. Valentina, stay...
An example
okay.
under I3, but
all right.
I would like maybe later to give also an example under European Innovation Ecosystem, which is the other coordinated call under this umbrella.
Okay.
And I can elaborate a little bit more on synergies.
Great. Okay. That's great. Certainly. Let's move on to Ana Palmera de Oliveira, representative of the University of the Beira Interior, president of Cosmetic Cluster, Portugal, CEO of LabFit. That's part of the Health Products Research Development. In any case, interesting that there's money out there from the Commission to create these synergies, right? That's interesting as a segue to you on what you are doing, right?
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, once again. And first of all, I would like to address a big thank you to the organization of this event. I think that is the way to go, in fact, and has been highlighted here during this afternoon, the leadership that European regulation has worldwide. This is, in fact, true. So other countries are following our steps, so this must be a continuous work that we need to take forward. And in this point, I would just like to address that SCCS that was also highlighted here today by the DG GROW representative is in fact one element that is mandatory to continue this work. So including SCCS in ECHA may be a good idea, but keeping their independency and focus on cosmetics industry also. So.
Okay.
Now, let's go to your question.
Let's go, my question, and then we also wanted to talk about skills, new skills.
Yes, but taking your question now, indeed there is money out there, and we have experience, and when I talk about I mean clusters that are together working on this innovation and new skills on cosmetics fields. We have an approved AEA project, so the Innovation Consortium project. We have one approved that is the leadership is Cosmetic Valley. So we are working together starting this year on this innovation, including also looking to sustainability and the importance of studying micropolluants, biodegradability, and other issues. So introducing also the other point that you wanted to be discussed here, there is something already working since the 1st of May of this year. And also, on this point of having money in Europe to support innovation and support this strategy for cosmetics, I shall say that on skills, in fact, we need to improve skills not only on collaborators, but also on managers, on directors, regarding
like vertical up and down.
On vertical
right?
effect, regarding the twin transition, regarding the entrepreneurship. If you want to continue being the leaders worldwide on cosmetics industry, we need to continue feeding entrepreneurship in this field. So for this, of course, there is also other opportunities in European program, and I shall say that Erasmus is one of the projects that have the opportunity to support this field and support this transference of knowledge between academia and industry. So this is something that again, European decisions must look carefully to Cosmetics Europe. We are working on this. We are not theoretically planning things. We are on the field working together and making transference knowledge and making collaboration more than competition a strength in European ecosystem. This maybe introduce some of the points that
absolutely. Yeah, and we'll come back to you. Let me move then to Valentina Nucera, General Manager of Tech School Fondazione ITS, New Technology for Made in Italy. Can you tell us about the VET education program?
Yes.
That could be a key channel and path for upskilling.
Yes, thank you also from my side for this invitation to the Industria and the Lombardy Cosmetic Systems. I'm happy to hear about Erasmus and Erasmus Plus program because I'm as kind of result of these programs. And I was living in Germany 11 years. Maybe my German is better than my English, of course, but I will try to explain you my...
Machen wir das auf Deutsch jetzt.
Okay.
Sorry, translator.
Machen wir auf Deutsch. No. Okay. I was fascinated from this system in Germany because I think it's the answer about the skill gaps and about the new talents. If we would like to speak this afternoon about future of the cosmetic industry, we need to speak to the young people, to the young talents. No? I was trying also a small experiment, and I was typing in ChatGPT all these topics we are talking about this afternoon. Of course.
What did you get? What came out of it?
I get many answers, of course, without details, because
no, of course not.
We
no
cannot
sources.
receive so many details about the topic. But you can maybe have an examination with this ChatGPT. And when I was young, I just have a vocabulary, to study German and English. But we come to our ETS. ETS in Italy was the answer of our educational training to the German dual system. And they are public and private foundation with universities, secondary schools, companies. Companies are the most important point, let me say, because we need to program to start together to learn together and building together the learning paths. But my problem, and it's my question to you today, I'm here to get answer, not to give information.
Okay,
That's why I'm
listen
here.
up. Yeah.
My question is, how can we approach and bring closer young people to the cosmetic sector? Because when we are in the school, in the secondary school, or in events about education, the result is then on one side, young girls, they are asking us how to become makeup artists. And young men, they are not interested because they answer, I'm not interested in makeup or mascara or such things. And my point of view is we need more to communicate the excellence of this sector industry, not only in Italy but also I think in Europe, and that's why we are here. I think also.
Well, I see this ETS or ITS system that was founded in Italy in 2010.
It's new. It's
right.
It's almost new. difficult to approach young people to say, okay, you can study to university. Of course, university, we are together with two of the most important university of Milan and Pavia today, and we are discussing about this topic. If I like to study and R&D and so on, I can approach this sector with university.
But in the description that I see here, you also try to promote this idea of work-life balance, respecting young generation's expectations.
Yes.
That you need to have that as part of the instruction or communication, right?
Yes,
these days.
Young people is also about the consequence of COVID. They are looking now for this work-life balance, for to grow inside the company. It's not enough to say, okay, I got a job. They are looking for the dream job, no? What they can grow up, bring ideas. Maybe they want to found a startup, no? To build a startup, and industries and companies have to give the chance these young people to also be themselves what they want to be.
Let's come back to that and keep that question in mind, because I'd like to get that feedback on that. But let's move to the other two speakers. Luca Fumagalli, professor at Politecnico di Milano, and Industry 4.0. That realizes the idea of smart manufacturing, using automation, robotics. You tell us a little bit about that, how that can help as an answer to the idea of research development skills as well, right?
Christopher, let me pick up some concepts that we have discussed today. And I'm a professor, so you know we like to have blackboard to write on.
Yes,
I don't have blackboard, but
so you have your virtual blackboard behind you.
So think about a circle, and we have a customer. And when we have a customer or consumer, we look for safety and regulation to support and to defend him, her.
Right.
And this is then translated in a cost of production we have discussed. So companies then struggle to follow the different regulation norms, etc. This cost of production is then transferred again to the consumer, because companies have to survive. So how to interrupt this circle to avoid that for the customer, safety and regulation just mean cost, more expensive product. So this means that artisanal production or industrial production must rely on tools, digital tools, and the companies must face the twin transition, what we call digital and sustainable transition. So, and then it comes that we discuss a lot money for innovation. Money for innovation, money for innovation. But indeed, we don't only need money for innovation, that is for new formulation, etc., and research. We also need money for safety and efficiency. So we need money, we need support in terms of high TRL level, technology readiness level. That is how we measure research projects, for example. And it's not that money must be transferred to company. Money can go in another direction to support this high technology readiness level. And there it comes training and skill. So training and skill in the twin transition can support company to be efficient, to solve this discussion, not to solve the discussion, but to solve some issues of the discussion we had in order to support the innovation in terms of new regulation more restrictive because they are useful for the final consumer.
Right, so it's all connected. It's all connected. What kind of skills and training you specifically do you think are needed right now?
Right now, we need the skills that are not only related with the product, they are related with the entire supply chain, they are related with completely manage the marketing channel, related with the logistics, related with a comprehensive, let's say, set of engineering disciplines that are not totally related with the product. They are also generic in the sense that they apply to the manufacturing industry.
And this is why and how we also were able to support the automotive sector in Europe. And we are going in Europe to do that also in the future, starting with this. So this is something that we should also apply for. For cosmetic, there are initiatives related with teaching. For example, there is the EIT manufacturing, that is a teaching initiative funded by Europe that is related with manufacturing. So we could think about something in the cosmetic sector. We could think something that support high TRL levels, something that is ready, but companies are not able to use because there are no person to use that technology and they don't have that competence.
Right.
Then young people, talent, young at the university level or even before, training is important.
Okay. Yeah, let's stay in academia and move to Professor Émilie Destandeau, professor at the Université d'Orléans and the coordinator of Cosmeto-Sciences, research in eco-responsible extraction methods. Can you tell us a little bit about the program, soit en français, soit en anglais, as you wish?
Merci pour l'introduction. Je vais aussi remercier les organisateurs de cette journée de nous avoir conviés à venir vous présenter un petit peu le programme Cosmeto-Sciences. Donc effectivement, c'est un exemple de programme qui est soutenu par la région Centre-Val de Loire, donc en France, qui est porté par l'Université d'Orléans et en collaboration avec l'Université de Tours. Donc ce sont les deux universités régionales. On associe aussi des laboratoires du CNRS et puis bien évidemment le cluster Cosmetic Valley et le Studium, qui est une association de la région pour promouvoir les collaborations internationales. Donc en fait, ce programme de recherche est financé depuis 2015, donc ça fait déjà 8 ans maintenant. Donc ça s'est structuré en plusieurs phases. Au début, l'objectif, ça a été de faire collaborer les différents laboratoires de la région centre entre eux, avec les entreprises essentiellement régionales. Donc on a maintenant 11 laboratoires qui participent à ce programme.
Ah, donc ça.
Et voilà. Et donc depuis 2015, on a développé plus de 40 projets de recherche. Et pour chaque projet de recherche, les laboratoires académiques sont associés avec des entreprises cosmétiques. Au départ de la région centre, puis plutôt à l'échelle nationale. Et donc maintenant, notre ambition, c'est d'ouvrir le programme à l'échelle internationale et donc de collaborer avec d'autres systèmes académiques, donc notamment la Lombardie, le Portugal et tous ceux qui sont présents ici pour développer nos collaborations à l'échelle internationale, académique, industrielle.
Donc plutôt industriel en Europe.
En Europe,
oui.
Voilà.
Et après 8 ans, sans doute, vous avez pas mal de résultats. C'est possible de donner un résultat concret de ces recherches?
Alors, on peut donner, oui, il y a plusieurs résultats. Donc, l'idée, c'est vraiment de développer de la recherche pour promouvoir la recherche en cosmétique et puis pour répondre aux besoins des industriels et du consommateur. Donc, par exemple, on a développé des ingrédients à base de plantes qui sont cultivées localement en région centre, des plantes cultivées de façon par biotechnologie.
Pour remplacer les importations.
Pour remplacer les plantes de Guyane, par exemple, qui ne viennent plus jusqu'en région centre. Donc maintenant, on peut les cultiver aussi chez nous. Ça limite l'impact environnemental. Voilà, on a développé aussi...
À moins que ça soit cultivé d'une façon écolo, non? N'est-ce pas?
Alors, eux, ils le cultivent localement de façon éco-responsable et nous, on cultive localement chez nous de façon éco-responsable aussi.
Très bien.
Voilà, après, ça peut être des nouveaux modèles aussi pour évaluer l'efficacité ou la toxicité des produits cosmétiques. Voilà, donc on travaille un peu sur toute la chaîne de valeur, du sourcing de matières naturelles jusqu'au développement du produit fini en assurant l'activité biologique et la sécurité du produit.
Donc aussi de peut-être éviter de la régulation sur certains produits en développant d'autres matières premières.
Oui, d'autres matières premières et d'autres modèles d'évaluation aussi. Donc, par exemple, voilà, des nouveaux modèles de peau qui prennent en compte des systèmes de peau de nature différentes, différentes pathologies de la peau, de façon à limiter, ne plus avoir de tests sur animaux ou autres qui ne se font plus en cosmétique.
Okay, good. Do we have any questions out there? Yes, please. Your name and title, please.
Hi, everybody. Lorenzo Di Cataldo. I represent a company making robots for chemists, to which chemists can delegate everything.
Way to go.
And my question is, years ago, architects didn't use computers and had to draw everything. And in universities, they needed to learn how to draw. and right now they learn how to draw on a computer.
To draw, right?
To draw, yeah,
Okay.
AutoCAD, and so they don't need to know how to draw.
Yeah.
With their hands. In chemistry, robots are coming. Chemists must be more and more data scientists. Discovery is becoming more and more data-driven, and so on. How are universities preparing the new generation of chemists?
Okay, that's a good question for both of the professors, perhaps. Who would like to answer first? Okay. Welcome, please.
First of all, there is one issue nowadays. So, for example, you know that we are all speaking about artificial intelligence, etc. And we are, in 1 year, we are moving from artificial intelligence must be in all the courses to artificial intelligence is something that nowadays is normal. So that's it, is there. So no need to revise the training program because artificial intelligence is already there. So, for example, I don't know the rate of courses, but at Politecnico di Milano we have already introduced artificial intelligence topic, if not with a dedicated course, for example, in the different topics. So professors are already evolving their courses. So somehow the market is also going faster than university. And still there is a certain skepticism, and we are keeping a traditional approach that an architect cannot just rely on the computer, but it must own the theory and the traditional art. And the same for other topics. I guess we are in the path, so don't think that just because you are seeing this generation of the students, university is not introducing this topic. Every year we are changing courses. And of course we have a delay. So nowadays, some years ago was that university was bringing the novelty. Nowadays the market, maybe your company, has a better solution than something that is in the research context in the university, and the exchange between company and university is more and more important. This is true. So the role of university has changed, and the discussion between university and industry must be stronger.
Émilie, qu'est-ce qui se passe chez vous?
Alors, chez nous, on ne renie pas la pratique. Sorry. In France, we made also some practicals and some real chemistry with product and with some manipulation. Computer is good, yes, but you have to demonstrate that your product is the one that you want to synthesize and that you want to make. So we have some new advance in new technology, but we keep also the base of the chemistry.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anna, did you have something to say?
Yes, I would like to add something on this. One way to go is to do programs at European level to push the polytechnics and universities and vet schools also to go with the flow. So again, these European programs that brings together university, schools, industries, clusters, and make them creating new graduation, new post-graduation courses are the way to go on this in a high-speed level, and we need this high-speed level to keep being the leaders worldwide for this industry. So this is my...
Yeah, I think there was something to add from Valentina Nucera, please.
I also would like to add what we are doing now because we believe strong in hybrid and contamination profiles because the industry is asking for this now. We had in the past mechanic and electro, and now we are mechatronics. And now we are promote a new course which name is Cosmetic. It means, of course, this technician have had to be competences about mechanica, mathematica, informatic, and also IoT, artificial intelligence, but he cannot approach a cosmetic industry without chemistry, for example. It's just basic level, of course, but it's something who, at the moment, nobody try to train. And this is together with companies, secondary school, of course, universities, and let's see if we will be successful as offer.
Okay, good. Let me go back to our first speaker, Valentina Pinna. Valentina, are you still with us? You connected? Valentina? Sfida? Okay. Because I think you had another point to make. I wanted to come back to you if possible. In the meantime, are there... Good. Yes, Valentina, you wanted to talk about an example of an ecosystem, right?
Yeah, of a potential project to be financed under European Innovation Ecosystem Call,
right.
which is another component of the Regional Innovation Valleys call. So this is another excellent opportunity for you as ecosystems to work together. How? Basically, the purpose of this call is to enhance a strategic-oriented long-term collaboration at program level. Basically, all the regions that are supporting your clusters, your Cosmetic Valley partnership, can join forces, work together in order to build joint programs. And the advantage of this opportunity, the regional to apply under the European Innovation Ecosystem, is the possibility to engage in 5 years projects to deliver action plans with concrete funding opportunities to be offered via cascading funding. And the interesting opportunity is also the fact that the regional authorities will have the possibility to leverage their investment in research and innovation, because basically they can get up to 50% of top-up from the EU to the resources that they will mobilize. So in any case, the money that is foreseen at regional level under ERDF, for example, can be put in a common pot together with the regions that share the same specialization priorities, and on this money that they put in this common pot, virtual, even if it is a virtual common pot, they can get 50% co-fund.
Yeah, that's pretty attractive.
Money that is in the virtual common pot can be redistributed to the ecosystem actors that are cooperating together in the framework of interregional innovation investment projects.
Okay.
So very simple and very straightforward. Project up to 10 million euros. So it's an interesting opportunity for funding.
Yes, absolutely. Good. Anna, I wanted to come back to you. Maybe you might have a word on that, but also about, I think we wanted to talk about citizens' awareness as well. Can you talk about that?
Yes, and regarding this call that was being introduced, as I said in the beginning, we have a project that started on 1st of May. The leader is Cosmetic Valley, and is Act for Cosmetics, as it is called, is an ecosystem innovation project. And in this project, we have a specific topic for citizens' awareness regarding the importance of doing what we have also introducing here, how to bring young people to this sector, how to call them to look to this sector as an opportunity to do their professional pathway. And one of the things that we are also introducing in this project is specifically this communication with citizens about the cosmetics industry sector.
Yeah, so it's not just consumer awareness, it is everybody's awareness of the employment opportunities, the research opportunities, all that stuff.
Yes, yes. So this is a very important topic for the future. If we want to continue doing this work on the cosmetics cosmetics industry, if we want better collaborators, better professionals in the sector, we have to bring them since the first beginning to work on this knowledge, because it's really specific knowledge. I should say also that the big challenge for the future, in our opinion, is having the chance to do also the reskilling of some professionals that are already in the market. Not
specifically, what do you mean by that? What kind of reskilling?
People that are working on other fields, that have specific knowledge that can be applied to this cosmetic sector.
So from another sector to
reskill them, to come bring them to this sector. Or people that are working on other sectors and are not happy with their activities and would like to continue. They are valuable members to continue working.
Right.
They are productive, but they want to move to another.
So that's that's lifelong learning then. That could be at any age. It's not just 18 to 25. It goes beyond that, right?
And in the cosmetics industry, we have, and in the cosmetics field, we have a large opportunity for these people, because we bring together different specializations, different fields. We bring chemistry, but we also bring robotics. We also bring plant extracts, certification. So it's in fact a very broad sector, and we have the opportunity to help people reskilling their activity, reskilling their professional strategy, and being valuable contributors to this sector. So I would like also to share this with you.
Very good. Very good. Any questions out here? Yes, please. Ilaria, per favore.
Yes, thank you. I have a very little question to Valentina Pinna that I say greeting. Ciao Valentina, thank you. I'm glad that it's a pleasure to have you here. And I have a little question of the colleague you were talking about. Do you think that it could be possible, also following what Anna was just saying just now, to apply with a project including cascade funding, so for product innovation, process innovation in SMEs, but also considering some investments on the training side, so to the transfer of the knowledge to the companies, or not? And otherwise, I mean, we could, of course, make complementarities also, for example, with AET manufacturing, as Luca was saying.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Ilaria, for the question. So under I3 call, the focus of the project should be on investment in companies, meaning...
Oh, did we get cut? Valentina?
Yes? Can you hear me?
Yes, you're back on. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Ilaria, for the question. Coming to the I3 call, the focus of this the I3 project should be on investment in companies, tangible and intangible. A certain percentage of the project could also be dedicated to this sort of activities related to the uptake of concrete technologies, if they are key for the investment, but not generic training programs. So really, you have to always to take into consideration the interest of the company, the investment that the companies involved in the value chain are investing, are supporting, and the learning and training activities must be related to the needs of the companies. This is the key aspect that you have to keep in mind. If you apply for the European Innovation Ecosystem Call under Horizon, there you have 2 years preparatory action before you set up the program, the joint program. And there, of course, it's about coordinating funding, etc. But a certain percentage of coordination and support actions can be eligible. So, and talents, of course, is also a key aspect that is taken into consideration in the communication. So read carefully the call, European Innovation Ecosystem, because in this case we might have more flexibility than under I3. That, again, it's eligible, but should be a minor component of the project, not the key focus of the project.
Did that answer your question, Ilaria?
Yeah.
Is it good? Va bene.
Benissimo. Only to say that yes, as Anna was saying, we had a kickoff of one European Innovation Ecosystem project called Act for Cosmetics just 1 month ago of the call of the last year. So
it was the preparatory action, right? The preparatory action.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but his call is different. So please read carefully the last call that was published on 17th of May, because it's not exactly the same that you applied. It's a new one. It's bigger. It's more complex to some extent, but also more opportunities, because you can get up to 50% co-fund on the actions that you will put in place. But it's key to have the regional authorities on board for this one, because it's really a cooperation at program level. So you need innovation funding agencies on board to apply to this call.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Great. Je vais retourner à Émilie Destando à l'Université d'Orléans. J'avais une question sur les missions de votre programme. C'est Cosmetosciences, c'est ça? Et avec les outils de collaboration et l'accompagnement de projets.
Alors les missions du programme, c'est ce que j'ai un peu dit tout à l'heure. C'est vraiment de promouvoir des projets de recherche entre laboratoires académiques et industriels. L'avantage de ces projets, c'est que vraiment chacun apprend de l'autre. Finalement, les entreprises bénéficient des expertises académiques, du matériel aussi, des équipements de pointe qui sont achetés dans les laboratoires académiques, parce que souvent on s'associe à plusieurs laboratoires aussi pour acheter des équipements vraiment sophistiqués.
Donc vous partagez
des équipements, et du coup, ça permet d'acheter vraiment des équipements qui coûtent très cher, que la région supporte.
Comme par exemple, un équipement, exemple.
On peut avoir ce qu'on appelle des spectromètres de masse. Voilà, c'est des équipements qui coûtent plus d'1 million d'euros. Voilà, donc ça coûte cher, ça s'entretient, ça s'utilise bien. Et donc la région nous aide à financer ces équipements, et on peut en faire bénéficier les industries avec notre expertise.
Ce qui peut servir comme modèle ailleurs aussi en Europe.
Tout à fait, oui. Après, on peut, voilà, l'expertise, on peut l'associer à des projets avec les partenaires industriels, mais avec d'autres collaborations académiques ou industrielles en Europe. L'intérêt aussi, c'est finalement la formation, on en parlait tout à l'heure, la formation des jeunes. On accueille dans nos laboratoires des doctorants, des postdocs, des stagiaires de master, et finalement ils sont formés directement avec ces compétences, avec ces outils, sur des sujets concrets de l'industrie cosmétique, et demain ils sont embauchés par ces industries.
Parce que vous êtes en contact avec l'industrie,
tout le temps avec l'industrie.
Qu'est-ce qu'ils ont besoin comme skills, comme capacité, right?
Alors ça peut être des compétences qui sont très techniques, par exemple, on l'a dit, de chimie, de biologie, de biotechnologie. Voilà, donc on forme vraiment des docteurs et des postdoctorants formés de façon très très technique et très pointue sur ces domaines-là. Et puis après, ça peut être aussi des compétences plus transversales de management de projet, d'interaction, d'expertise un peu sur toute la chaîne de valeur, de la réglementation cosmétique qui est très importante aussi.
Très bien, très bien. Luca, anything more to add on that? On the that sort of interaction between business and academia, that you're helping to fill that skills gap, right?
We have simply to rethink the role of these two words. So often we discuss there is academia and there is industry. And then we have the students in between. So then companies say that academia is not preparing the students in the good way. And the point is that we perceive the two words as separated words. So we must rethink the model, and we are going in this direction anyway in Europe. There are other systems in US, for example, in which the collaboration is stronger, is different, of course. But we have good examples, and so we are in the right path, probably.
I'm sure there are a lot of students who insist on that green transition, right? And
it's normal for the generation is their life. Their life is green, sustainable. Yeah.
Right. If there's that brain power that the industry needs too, right, to do that. Any other questions before we wrap this up and go to the final comments, right? Is that okay? Why don't we do that? Let's a round of applause for the speakers, also for Valentina virtual. There is a skills gap, and we're working on it, right? Absolutely. So we've examined all aspects, or at least three aspects, of the what the industry needs to in this future. We're talking about the future of the cosmetics industry. If we could have Christophe and Anne, s'il vous plaît, join us. Merci, Anne. Christophe, yeah. And yes, goodbye to Valentina Pinna. We did give you a big hand. Nice to hear from you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Grazie. So we're wrapping this up, and we want to look across these three panels and the needs of the industry in facing the future. I guess I will begin with Anne. Vice-présidente, Anne Beignet, vice-présidente for Higher Education, Research and Innovation, région Centre-Val de Loire. On va parler en français, je pense, hein, n'est-ce pas? Oui, ok. Ça devait être, j'imagine, assez encourageant d'entendre, parce que, comme votre de ce dernier panel, de parler des capacités de reskilling, upskilling pour cette industrie. C'est très important, n'est-ce pas?
C'est évident que là, maintenant, mais un peu dans tous les domaines, mais dans la cosmétique, c'est flagrant. Vraiment, les compétences dont ont besoin les industries en ce moment, il faut absolument que les formateurs, les universités, les écoles s'en emparent. Et ça a été dit, il y a des compétences très spécifiques en chimie, en biologie, mais il y a aussi, et il ne faut pas oublier, les compétences transversales et les compétences environnementales. C'est ce que recherchent nos jeunes et il faut absolument les amener à ça. Alors on a aussi la difficulté, alors peut-être pas dans tous les pays européens, mais en France on l'a, c'est revaloriser le côté industrie. Un jeune pense qu'une industrie, c'est pas bien, c'est pas pour lui. Et il faut lui faire comprendre que l'industrie, maintenant, c'est pas ce qui existait il y a 30 ou 40 ans. C'est complètement différent et il y a un travail important. Donc, il y a tout un travail sur les compétences à faire. Et à la fois les compétences transversales, parce qu'on a beaucoup parlé de réglementation aujourd'hui, et il faut bien avoir les compétences dans ce domaine.
Vous êtes ingénieur en chimie.
Exactement.
Ça, c'est votre passé. Comment est-ce que cette discipline a évolué depuis quelques dizaines d'années?
C'est plus du tout la même chose.
Ouais.
C'est plus
Et
du
comment
tout la même
Comment est-ce que
chose.
c'est changé?
C'est un peu compliqué parce que bon, moi ça fait longtemps que j'ai pas travaillé dans la chimie, mais au niveau enseignement, on n'enseigne plus, je pense, du tout la chimie, par exemple, comme on le faisait avant. Avant, c'était très en silo, quoi. Vous aviez la chimie organique dans tel domaine, la chimie minérale dans tel domaine, les matériaux, c'était vraiment des silos. Maintenant, c'est beaucoup plus élargi et un jeune qui commence dans ces formations, peut-être qu'au fur et à mesure de ces formations, il va se concentrer sur tel ou tel domaine, mais au début, il a une vue très large de cette matière.
Et comme vous êtes vice-présidente pour Higher Education, Research and Innovation, ce que vous avez entendu de ces projets au niveau régional, national, comment est-ce que l'Union européenne pourrait aider à soutenir, à développer ces capacités au niveau européen, parmi les 27? Alors, on a entendu de bons projets là.
Il y a des projets, oui, on a entendu de très beaux projets. Alors c'est vrai, comment l'Union européenne peut accompagner la prise de connaissances, l'augmentation des compétences, c'est compliqué parce qu'il faut aussi jouer avec le niveau national et même si on a toujours licence, master, doctorat, les pays ne travaillent pas de la même manière. Mais je crois qu'il est important que si l'Union européenne pouvait accompagner, quand elle accompagne les projets de recherche, accompagner les enseignements liés à ces projets de recherche, ça serait beaucoup plus facile un peu, parce que bon, on développe un projet de recherche pour avoir des financements, que ce soit des financements Horizon Europe ou autres. Ne pas oublier que dans ces projets de recherche, on a besoin de compétences et lier les compétences à ça serait un sujet.
anticiper des compétences qu'il faudra il y a 5 ans, dans 5 ans, 10 ans, n'est-ce pas aussi?
Alors, anticiper les compétences, c'est compliqué. C'est compliqué. C'est à qui est-ce de dire de quoi on a besoin ou de quoi on aura besoin. C'est compliqué pour une entreprise actuellement de dire voilà de quoi on aura besoin. On aura besoin, parce qu'on a besoin, ils le savent. Les universités le savent pas non plus. Donc, je crois qu'il y a un travail ensemble à faire.
Ensemble.
Sur ces nouveaux métiers, parce que c'est des métiers qui n'existent pas encore.
Questions, commentaires de ce que vous avez entendu? Any questions or comments on that? Yes, please, s'il vous plaît. Mettre le micro.
Tout à fait d'accord avec vous. Donc, j'ai arrêté ma carrière dans l'industrie cosmétique. C'est plus de 25 ans. Donc, justement pour enseigner et transmettre. Pour préparer les jeunes, je pense que on a besoin des gens un peu comme moi pour expliquer, parce qu'il y avait les choses changent avec une vitesse faramineuse, et il faut préparer les jeunes, qu'est-ce qu'ils vont trouver quand ils vont dans 5 ans, dans 10 ans qui viennent.
On a entendu des projets d'Erasmus et aussi Horizon. Est-ce que ça suffit? Est-ce qu'il faut de plus, davantage?
Alors, je pense que c'est déjà pas mal. Avec Erasmus et Erasmus+, donnent des possibilités importantes. Oui. Moi, je pense que maintenant, il faut que les universités et les pays s'en emparent complètement. Parce que c'est toujours un peu compliqué de mettre en place ces projets Erasmus et Erasmus+, mais il faut vraiment s'en emparer, parce que quelquefois, il n'est pas besoin de créer des nouveaux outils. Il faut développer ce qui existe, et là, on en a un bon.
OK, très bien. Je passe à Christophe Masson, General Manager, Cosmetic Valley. And Christophe, you're a chemical engineer also.
Aussi.
And you've managed pharma R&D for 10 years. Cosmetic Valley. Cluster, creating research partnerships for innovation. From what you heard today, our discussions today, how much does that give you hope that there's going to be more of a recognition that this industry needs support on a European level?
Christopher, déjà merci d'avoir animé ce très bel atelier. Le soleil est arrivé sur Bruxelles, sans doute que nos travaux ont éclairé la profession. Non, mais je trouve que les interventions ont été très riches, et on a parlé financement, évidemment, c'est le nerf de la guerre. On a parlé réglementation. Les actualités sont très fortes dans ce domaine-là, et c'était bien normal qu'on aborde les grands sujets réglementaires qui sont devant nous. Mais je trouve surtout qu'on a parlé d'avenir, on a parlé de dynamique collective de filière, et c'est ça qui va créer de la valeur demain. Engager la chaîne de valeur de manière durable, bosser sur l'innovation, travailler sur les compétences, travailler sur l'export. On a retrouvé, je crois, aujourd'hui tous les sujets qui sont les sujets majeurs de compétitivité de notre industrie. Donc, remercier les intervenants, saluer aussi les régions, parce que je crois que c'est une première, cette réunion au comité des régions. Pour la première fois, les régions, et en premier lieu la Lombardie et la région centre, mais il y a aujourd'hui une dizaine de régions qui sont engagées à nos côtés sur le sujet de la cosmétique, dans le cadre de la stratégie S3. Et c'est évidemment primordial, c'est au cœur des régions qu'on trouve nos usines, nos centres de production, nos centres de recherche. Et cet engagement des régions à nos côtés, ici depuis Bruxelles, c'est un élément clé, je crois, de succès pour l'avenir. Bon, ce que je peux dire, c'est qu'aujourd'hui on a fait un diagnostic, on a posé les bases d'une feuille de route. Les prochaines étapes, elles ont été citées, notamment par Anna tout à l'heure. Il y a un grand programme qui s'appelle Act for Cosmetic, qui est soutenu par la DG Recherche, qui représente 5 ans de travail, 14 groupes de travail qu'on va enclencher, 3,6 millions d'investissements. Donc c'est les 5 ans qui viennent, on va bosser sur la transition écologique, transition digitale, information aux citoyens. Donc on a une belle feuille de route devant nous. On souhaiterait, ça a été dit par mon président en introduction, arriver à mettre en place un comité de filière européen. On l'a fait en France. Nos amis italiens sont en train, je crois, de travailler aussi sur cette opportunité. C'est quoi un comité de filière? C'est de mettre tout le monde autour de la table, comme on l'a fait aujourd'hui. Des gens qui représentent les territoires, des gens qui représentent l'industrie, la recherche, la formation, les directions générales de l'Europe, évidemment.
Coordonner.
Coordonner, échanger, partager les sujets et coordonner une dynamique. Et puis, vous donnez rendez-vous tous, vous allez recevoir suite à cette manifestation une invitation à venir sur le salon Cosmetic 360 à Paris, qui se tient tous les ans à Paris au mois d'octobre, là c'est 18 et 19 octobre. On va vous envoyer une invitation parce que On a eu aujourd'hui beaucoup d'échanges sur l'innovation et la transformation, mais rien de tel que de le voir concrètement, et vous pourrez rencontrer 250 innovations, l'essentiel venant d'Europe, qui illustrent en fait cette dynamique, cette fierté qu'on peut avoir d'une industrie cosmétique qui est au cœur des territoires et qui investit dans l'avenir.
Même le fait que le comité des régions a co-organisé cet événement, ça doit vous encourager, vous donner de l'espoir pour l'avenir, n'est-ce pas, que au niveau européen, il y a plus d'attention à votre industrie, sans doute.
Exactement, il y a, je crois, aujourd'hui 14 filières prioritaires en Europe, on n'en fait pas partie. Donc,
exactement, vous voulez faire partie de ces...
Espérons, voilà. Espérons, parce que c'est évidemment un poumon économique pour l'Europe, c'est un secteur qui est aussi remarquable en termes d'attractivité, en termes d'implication dans la RSE. Donc faisons-en un secteur stratégique et travaillons avec l'Europe à ce sujet.
Très bien, très bien. Une question ou deux? Oui.
Marco Piacentini. Across the whole of the day, we've been talking much about awareness and mindfulness of various levels of non-technical people. And I was thinking, who actually is driving today this mindfulness and awareness to consumer? Because we're talking about consumer products when we're talking consumer. These are today influencers talking on digital media.
Sure.
Okay. So I was saying, while asking how Europe could help, what about if Europe could fill this room with influencers that today are spoken out of not very precisely and detailed information taken God knows where. And we teach them, or not teach is not the right answer, we show them what is the real cosmetic, what is behind a mascara, what is behind a skincare. And we try to close the gap between the Europe, between the supply chain, the technical science, and the final consumer, having this influencer on our side and asking them to do what they do best, informing the consumer and creating a distributed mindfulness that will support the supply chain and support the work that we all do in here.
Donc communication aux consommateurs, commentaire là-dessus déjà impressionnant, c'est ce data bank de 30 000 ingrédients. Je trouve que ça, c'est assez intéressant pour se combattre contre la désinformation de certains influenceurs, n'est-ce pas?
Là, vous mettez le point sur un sujet très important qui est la culture scientifique, la science pour la société. Alors vous le faites via les influenceurs, c'est une très bonne idée. Il faut aussi le faire pour tout le monde. Et c'est vrai qu'il faut accompagner cette culture scientifique. Ce n'est pas simple. Les médiateurs scientifiques, ils ont besoin d'être formés de manière très poussée. Et peut-être qu'en effet, l'Europe pourrait accompagner des projets de culture scientifique, alors pour influenceurs ou pour tout le monde, entre guillemets, parce que là, pour le moment, il n'y a pas beaucoup d'aide sur ce sujet-là. Et c'est indispensable, parce que si les consommateurs ne comprennent pas exactement ce qui a été dit tout à l'heure, ce qu'il y a derrière une matière première, mais pas la matière première en elle-même, mais sa quantité, sa manière d'être utilisée, forcément, les influenceurs, et parmi eux ceux qui n'y connaissent le moins, seront malheureusement défaitistes sur certains produits. Donc ça serait bien que l'Union européenne accompagne cette culture scientifique.
Alors, appel à l'action, Quo Vadis, qu'est-ce qui se passe après? Le suivi de cet événement, qu'est-ce que vous envisagez, Christophe?
Eh bien, évidemment, un compte-rendu, une feuille de route partagée avec les régions, avec les axes prioritaires qu'il faut développer, un certain nombre de rendez-vous qu'on doit avoir ici à Bruxelles pour essayer de devenir une filière stratégique, ou en tout cas de mettre en place un comité de filière. Voilà. Et puis des événements réguliers. Je parlais de Cosmetic 360. On a aussi tous les ans à Chartres un congrès réglementaire qui est éminemment important sur la cosmétique. Et puis, je ne sais pas quand est-ce qu'on se redonne rendez-vous ici, je ne sais pas. L'année prochaine, dans 2 ans. En tout cas, prenons le temps de construire, pour se réunir ici et se féliciter peut-être d'avancées significatives.
Anne, quelque chose à ajouter?
Je crois que c'est exactement ça. Moi, bien sûr, en tant que représentante d'une région, moi, ce que je souhaiterais, c'est qu'il y ait de plus en plus de régions qui rejoignent ces programmes pour la cosmétique. Bon, il y en a 10, c'est déjà beaucoup. On peut en faire plus, mais on sait que ce qui se joue, c'est les réunions ici, à Bruxelles, et il faut être continuellement présent à Bruxelles, auprès du Parlement, auprès de la Commission. Bon, moi j'ai l'avantage d'être membre du comité des régions, donc ça permet aussi d'avancer un peu aussi là-dessus.
Pied dans la porte, quoi. Très bien.
Oui, on a un peu un pied dans la porte, mais avec vous, et j'espère que vous m'aiderez, on peut avoir les 2 pieds dans la porte.
Ah, les 2 pieds, absolument. Merci beaucoup, Anne et Christophe. And thank you to all of you for being here. Very important to get your input, your questions, and your comments. And of course, this is all recorded and available for playback after that. Our thanks also to the interpreters. Thank you very much, the interpreters. That was a lot of, I'd say that was a lot of acrobatics, right? Going from one to the, it wasn't very easy. And what else can I say? Just to keep in mind, there's also the network cocktail, right? Are we going to do this? Yeah, this is happening. Right after this. Is that right? Okay. Very good. We will guide you to that. Let's see. A presentation of good practice. Is there something I had to mention on... Stand by for information.
So I will do a quick information about what's happening next. My name is Celeste. I work for the Brussels office of the region Centre-Val de Loire.
Hi, Celeste. Celeste helped to organize this, too. Let's give her a big hand. Come on now. Here. Yeah. Good job.
I just wanted to first thank you, Chris, because you really helped in making this moment so eventful and fun. And so we have, please.
Thank you.
As you know, there will be a cocktail tonight, so we are meeting at 7 at the Warwick Hotel in downtown Brussels. It's about a 20-minute walk from here, but you cannot lose yourself for people who are not from Brussels because it's a straight line.
It's very close.
It's literally a straight line.
Yeah.
So it's on from 7 p.m. and please do come. It will be so great to have a chat after this long event. What else did I want to say?
Cosmetic Science? Are you going to make a presentation?
Yep. Exactly. So the networking cocktail is co-organized by Cosmetic Valley and Cosmetic Science, the program that Émilie Destando just explained about. And there will be a very short introduction for those who want more detail into how this program is being developed and co-financed by the region. Thank you very, very much for attending, and see you tonight.
See you tonight. Thank you very much.